Right, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Rector of Universitas Andalas, Mr. Fauzan Ph.D., the Honorable Vice Rectors of Universitas Andalas, also the Deans of the all faculties of Universitas Andalas, also the Head of Research and Community Service Universitas Andalas, Professor Dr. Tex Marzuki, MSc Engineering. We would also like to recognize our keynote speakers today, Professor Dr. Fadalin Tanggang from University Brunei Darussalam, Brunei, Associate Professor Dr. Chainawan Wachanachan dari from Prince of Songkla University, Thailand, and Associate Professor Dr. Tim Ferris, HVHAA from Cranfield University, United Kingdom. And we would also like to recognize our invited speaker for our conference, Professor Dr. Elvindi SAMA from Universitas Andalas, and Dr. Mirta Widya from University Malaysia Pahang, Malaysia, and Professor Dr. Apoteker Dedi Prima Putra from Universitas Andalas. Also, we would like to recognize our representative of our collaboration journal, first from Mindanao Journals of Science and Technology, or MGIST, Jurnal Optimasi Sistem Industri GOSI, Jurnal Ilmu Fisika, Jurnal Riset Kimia, Jurnal Nasional Teknik Elektro, dan International Journal of Agricultural Sciences ICSTI. Also, presenters, lecturers, participants, and students that attend our agenda today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to International Conference on Science and Technology 2025 with the theme Resource Sustainability for Environmental Resilience. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will begin the program by the singing to the Indonesian National Anthem, Indonesia Raya. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated properly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear welcoming remark from the organizing committee chairs of the International Conference on Science, Technology, and Innovations 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Priyadi Ismail.
Thank you, Mr. Akbar. Can you hear me clearly? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Baik. Ya. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahillazi ahyana ba'dama amatana wa ilaihin nusyur. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Honorable Rector of Universitas Andalas, Pak Dr. Fauzan Adziman, Honorable Head and Research and Community Engagement Institute Universitas Andalas, Prof. Dr. Marzuki, Honorable Vice Rectors of Universitas Andalas, Honorable Deans, Directors, and Heads of Institute at Universitas Andalas, Honorable Keynote Speaker of Professor Dr. Fedolin Tanggang from University Brunei Darussalam, Brunei, Associate Professor Dr. Chayawan Watanachan from Prince of Songkla University, Thailand, Associate Professor Dr. Tim Ferris from Cranfield University, United Kingdom, Honorable Invited Speaker, Professor Dr. Alvin Ri from Universitas Andalas, Dr. Mirta Widya from USM, Professor Dr. Dedi Prima Putra from Universitas Andalas, Honorable Editor-in-Chief of Partner Journal, Mindanao Journal of Science and Technology, Jurnal Optimasi Sistem Industri, Jurnal Ilmu Fisika, Jurnal Riset Kimia, Jurnal Nasional Teknik Elektro, International Journal of Agriculture Sciences, and ladies and gentlemen, all participants. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to the International Conference of Science, Technology, and Innovation 2025. This is the second international conference organized by the Research and Community Engagement Institute, Universitas Andalas. We are thrilled to have this opportunity to exchange valuable knowledge and insights. I would like to report that 30 research titles will be presented during the conference. The research topics that will be shared include environmental sciences, climate adaptation, technology innovation and for sustainability, agriculture and socio-economic resilience, medicine and health. Furthermore, there will be more opportunity for participants to engage in specific discussion through keynote, invited, and plenary section throughout the conference. Finally, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the member of organizing committee for their exceptional teamwork and commitment in making this conference a success. I also want to thank all participants for this valuable contribution. We sincerely hope that this conference provide an enriching experience for everyone and open the door for the to great research collaboration. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Ladies and gentlemen, next, let's listen to remarks as well as opening the International Conference on Science, Technology, and Innovations by the Rektor of Universitas Andalas. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Eva Junedi, Ph.D.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Eva Junedi, Rector of Universitas Andalas. So on behalf of Universitas Andalas, it is my great honor and privilege to welcome all of you to the International Conference on Science, Technology, and Innovation. And indeed, just about 2 weeks ago, we had a national convention on science and technology in Bandung. I think this is a good follow-up from that prestigious conference in Bandung that invite many Nobel laureates and scientists in Indonesia. So we are truly delighted to gather in this remarkable forum under the theme of Resources Sustainability for Environmental Resilience. So first of all, let me express my highest respect to the Vice Rectors of Universitas Andalas, the Deans, the Directors, the Head of the Institutes, the Head of the Departments, and all of the university leaders who present with us today. Your presence shows the strong commitment of Universitas Andalas to advancing research, innovation, and international collaboration. Universitas Andalas is committed to investing more in education, research, innovation, and also international collaboration. Today, we are joined by an esteemed panel of speakers from across the globe. So allow me to extend my deepest appreciation to Professor Fridolin Tangang, Dr. Chayawan Watanachan, and Dr. Tim Ferris, Professor Elvin Ri, Dr. Mirta Widya, and Professor Dedi Primaputra from Universitas Andalas. So you present, enrich this conference, and inspire our academic community to think beyond borders. We are also grateful to our publication partners who play a vital role in disseminating the knowledge produced in this forum. So we thank Mindano Journal of Science and Optimasi Sistem Industri, Jurnal Ilmu Fisika, Jurnal Riset Kimia, and Jurnal Nasional Teknik Elektro, and also International Journal of Agriculture Sciences. So their collaboration ensures that research presented here will have an enduring impact and reaching scholars and practitioners for far beyond this event. So this year, the ICSTI is proud to welcome participants not only from Indonesia, but also from Brazil, Uzbekistan, and Japan. So your engagement demonstrates that the challenges of sustainability and resilience are a global concerns which require a global cooperation. So ladies and gentlemen, the theme of this conference, Resource Sustainability for Environmental Resilience, could not be more relevant. Our planet is facing unprecedented challenges from climate change, biodiversity loss, to resource scarcity. So as scholars and researchers, policymakers, and innovators, we share a responsibility to generate solutions that balance human progress with environmental stewardship. Universitas Andalas is deeply committed to fostering international collaboration in science, technology, and innovation. So we believe that through collective effort, knowledge exchange, and cross-border partnerships, we can pave the way toward a more sustainable and resilient future. So finally, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the organizing committee, our distinguished speakers, publication partners, all the participants, and of course, our university leaders who consistently support initiatives like this. So may this conference serve as a catalyst for meaningful dialogue, impactful research, and sustainable solution for generations to come. I hope you will have many takeaways from this conference. It challenge your existing current thinking and require more research and readings in this area. So with that, I officially declare that the International Conference on Science, Technology, and Innovation 2025 open. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
You to Rektor of
Thank you,
Universitas
Pak Rektor.
No worries.
Andalas, Mr. Eva Yunedi, PhD. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we start our plenary sessions today, let's us have a photo sessions first. So before we start our photo sessions, we want to make sure everyone is open the camera and don't forget to using virtual background that already committee been provided for. All right, we start we start for the first slide. 1, 2, 3. Click. Okay, we move to second slide. 1, 2, 3. Again, in for the third slide. 1, 2, 3. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's for conclude for our photo sessions today. And we move forward to our plenary sessions today with moderator Dr. Atriwan Esos MA and our keynote speakers, Professor Dr. Fedolin Tanggang from University Brunei Darussalam, Brunei, Associate Professor Dr. Chayawan Watnachan from Prince of Songkla University, Thailand, and Associate Professor Dr. Tim Ferris from Cranfield University, United Kingdom. And allow me to introduce our moderator today, Mr. Apriawan, MA PhD, is a senior lecturer and chairs at Departments of International Relations, Faculty of Social and Political Science, Universitas Andalas, Indonesia. And Mr. Apriawan already graduates from bachelor degree in International Relations in Jember University, Indonesia, and Master of Arts, a Graduate School of International Relations at Gajah Mada University, Indonesia, and PhD in Political Science and International Relations in the University of Western Australia, Australia. Also, Mr. Apriawan is awardee of Harvard Faith Fellowship Award 2023 in Monash University, Australia. All right, without further ado, let's invite our moderator to moderate our plenary session today. Please welcome Mr. Apriawan Esos, MA, PhD.
All right. Thank you, Patio, MC. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Just want to check first. All right. Good morning, distinguished guests and speakers, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, thank you to the organizer. It is an honor for me joining this great forum, the International Conference on Science, Technology and Innovation, ICSTI 2025. I'm Apriwan. I'll be the chair for the next 1 hour and more. As Pak Rektor already mentioned, that we face a lot of challenge nowadays from climate change, population growth, and economic expansion, and many more. This is not only challenge for the policymakers, our elites, our governments, but also for the academic sector, for like scholars in various disciplines. We face this challenge, and we need to overcome our problem nowadays. I won't be long to give a short briefing about our topic today. We are so lucky we will have several keynote speakers from various disciplines and backgrounds. And could you please, the organizer, show their um, CV, curriculum vitae, or biograph through this slide, please? First, we will have Associate Professor Dr. Tim Ferris. Right. He is a senior lecturer in system engineering for defense capability at the Center for Defense and Security Management and Informatics, Cranfield University. Good morning, Tim. Hopefully you already here. I know it is not morning there. Could be midnight already.
I am here.
And okay, cool. Okay, his background, he got PhD from the University of South Australia, graduate certificate in higher education, Queensland University of Technology, bachelor from some university from University of Adelaide, Flinders University, Australia. And his research supervision, research interest focus on design of engineered system for resilience, life cycle projection, and ensuring system effectiveness at a reasonable cost. And has been supervising some master and PhD students. And also in terms of professional and academic experience, has been joined Cranfield University since 2015, before working in Australia, in University of South Australia. And welcome, Dr. Tim Ferris. We are so happy I have you here. Next, please. We also have Associate Professor Dr. Chayawan Watanachan from Prince of Songkhla University, Thailand. He is associate professor in Division of Animal Production and Innovation at the university. He also Dean from the Faculty of Natural Resources, Prince of Songkhla University since 2022. His educational background, he got PhD in Animal Production, Department of Animal Science, University Putra Malaysia, Master Degree in Animal Science, Department of Animal Science, Konkan University, Thailand, and his bachelor degree from Agricultural Education, Department of Agriculture, Kasetsart University, Thailand. And his academic experience involved in academic and research activities since 1989, promoted to associate professor in 2020. And his specialization and research focus on dairy and meat goat production. Research expertise include goat and chicken meat science. Also active in some academic services related to goat farming system, goat butchering, meat culting, and so on. And he also got some award here. Received the Outstanding Academic Award for contribution to the goat industry of Thailand, awarded on 23rd July 2025 during the 13th National Animal Science Annual Conference held in Nakhon, Rakasima Province, Thailand. Welcome, Dr. Chayan. We are so great and happy for having you here. Please, the next slide. All right. Last but not least, we also have Professor Dr. Frodelin Tangan. Nice to meet you again, Professor. His field of expertise focus on climatology, current affiliations University Brunei Darussalam. Of course, he has a lot of experience regarding to the climate change issue. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, also mentioned here. He also one of member in the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC. His education background, he got doctoral from education PhD from the University of British Columbia, Canada in 1997. Focus on developing or the forecasting model for the El Nino Southern Oscillation, or ENSO. Of course, her research interests focus on climate change and variability, regional climate projection, and so on. And some key contribution, such as provides critical insights into the impact of climate change in Southeast Asia in the coming decades, the regional climate modeling effort to support climate adaptation and mitigation policies. That's the short bio from our speaker this morning for this plenary session. Before we start from one for the first keynote speaker, I want to give some explanation that we will have 20 minutes for each keynote speakers, and about 30 minutes after all the keynote speakers deliver their presentation. We will have about 30 minutes and more discussion session. And after that, we will wrap up this plenary session. All right. We will start from the first keynote speaker. We will give this session to Dr. Tim Ferris. Please, Tim, time over to you for the next 20 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, right. That's a bit shorter than I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
No, I think 30 minutes, I think, from Dr. Apriwan.
Oh, okay, that will be cool then.
Yeah, 30 minutes and 10 minutes for discussions.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's more like I expected. So I'll share my screen. So obviously you're hearing me. Are you seeing my presentation screen?
Not yet. Okay, it started to.
Are you
Okay,
seeing it
cool.
now?
Yeah, yeah, we get it.
Good. So I'm speaking to you about resilience as an engineering subdiscipline, because that's the approach that I've taken to it. My background is as a systems engineer, and systems engineers are concerned with the discovery of the stakeholders' needs in relation to an engineering project and turning that into an appropriate solution, which should be balanced across all of the criteria of concern in the project. Resilience is obviously one of those things in relation to any engineering development. But this means that probably the definition of resilience that I use will be a bit different to what many of you are using. So I'll start with defining resilience from my point of view. Resilience in relation to an engineering project involves developing means to achieve avoidance of the problem, withstanding the problem when the adversity hits, recovering from the problem, and then the evolving and adapting to the adversities. And adversities could be a variety of different things. So many definitions of resilience have been presented in the engineering literature, and the problem with that is that while they are all very nice about having a system which can face adversity and respond nicely, they don't actually give any clear guidance as to what engineering action can be taken to make sure that the situation will behave in a desirable way. And so a lot of the definitions are rhetorically attractive because they describe things which it's nice to achieve, but the problem is that this diversity of definitions doesn't actually guide real engineering action to make good decisions about situations where we're designing helpful, and also what engineering means could be used to promote resilience. This chart shows that what can be done before the encounter with the adversity. There are things which happen during the encounter with the adversity, and then there are things which have to happen afterwards. And so there are long and short-term actions which need to be performed either before or after the encounter with the adversity. And the long-term actions before are designing into the system, first of all, means to sense the approach of a threat or an adversity, so we know that there is a problem, means to withstand the threat to a reasonable magnitude, and we need to determine that on a case-by-case basis, and means to enable modification of use of the system in response to the events which are happening. The short-term actions involve the direct detection of an approaching threat and preparing the system for the threat encounter, doing whatever the procedures of preparation immediately before an encounter would be. During the encounter with the threat, the system needs to actually withstand it and minimize any loss or damage, minimize loss of life and those sorts of things. We need to enable adaptability so that we can take appropriate response actions in real time, and provide the system users with a situational awareness of the current state of the system. And then after the encounter, we need to be able to restore the service and so on that the system was providing, so that there can be an orderly control of response, either shutting down things which are at danger or operating systems which will take care of people and assets. And long-term actions involve the permanent repair of things or perhaps improvement of them in response. Let's look at what adversities are. So adversity is something that can act on the system or interact with the system that causes possible change of the system performance through damage or demand for a response to protect the system. And so adversities are the reason that we need resilience. And if there was no adversity, there'd be nothing that could cause something to go wrong, and therefore there'd be no need for resilience of the system. Adversities can come either from outside the system, and so things such as weather events or belligerent action by other people, those kinds of things come from outside the system and affect the system. There are other adversities which arise inside the system. So things like design flaws or component failures or operator errors are inside the system and result in challenge to the ability of the system to perform as it should, and therefore could lead to loss of operation or worse. The adversities could be active or latent. So an active adversity is something where something specific is done to or happens in the system which results in the bad outcome. And so I have some examples there. And latent adversities originate from a problem with the design. So there could be design flaws or component failures or inappropriate loading resulting from poor design, things of that sort, which result from the design of the system. Another issue is that we can have predicted adversities. So they are adversities of a kind and magnitude that we can reasonably predict. And so when I speak of that, if you were looking at an earthquake in a particular region, we would predict that earthquake could get to a certain magnitude, and that would guide our action of design to withstand that. And then we have unpredicted adversities, which are things which may be at a magnitude greater than we had reasonably expected. And so if you had statistical reasons to design for a particular level of a particular kind of adversity, it may be that you encounter an adversity event which is in the tail of the distribution and greater than you expect. But it wasn't statistically reasonable to design for protection against it. And there could also be adversities of kinds that we did not anticipate. And the question is, how will our system respond if it's confronted with an adversity of a kind that we didn't even know about? And I'll come to that later. I'll now look at the question of capability, because this is a core question in systems engineering. Capability is a noun. It has to do with having an ability to do something. And so when we design a system, the purpose of the system that we acquire is not so that we can have something to show off, but it's so that we have something which will perform action for us and enable us to perform the activities in the world that we want to do. So we obtain systems to enable the capability to do something. So we acquire the system for the purpose of achieving action in the world. Sometimes there might be a status product aspect to it, but a status product still needs to work. Now, something I have found very helpful is thinking about Heidegger's distinction of pure being and process being. Pure being is in the domain of things which engineers are normally very concerned with, the physical properties of materials and things, and understanding how they behave. Process being is the concern that other stakeholders will have. Politicians or people who acquire systems want the system so that it will be means to achieve a purpose for them. They don't actually care about the physics of the problem. They care about achieving an action, and process being is something which focuses on that achievement of the desired performance and outcomes. Therefore, this has been a focus of my work in applying this concept, which relates to the capability issue that I just mentioned. And as I thought about capability, one of the problems that English-speaking people have is that our language is focused on nouns, things, rather than verbs and action. And the result is that when we think of obtaining something, we tend to think of obtaining a system, a thing, rather than achieving the purpose for which we are obtaining it. And given the time, I can't say too much more about that. All languages have ways of expressing the names of things, and therefore talking about things, and also being able to talk about action. However, different languages will have a different hierarchy. And I mentioned English tends to be focused on nouns, along with most Western European languages. If we went to the Semitic languages, such as Hebrew, the root form of the word is the verb, and the focus is on thinking about action. And students that I've taught in Abu Dhabi have told me the same is true in Arabic. I have no idea about Indonesian because I haven't asked anybody. And so I jumped through. So the impact of this is that we English speakers have a tendency to think about things and the acquisition of things rather than the action that they perform, which leads to thinking about resilience in terms of rather than protection of the capacity to perform action. And protection of the capacity to perform action may lead to quite different design concepts. We will proceed. So resilience and capability. Capability, the primary issue is what the system is for. So its capacity, or the capacity of the system to deliver the required services in order to achieve a specified level of performance. And we're also concerned with when the service is required. And so obviously there are some systems which, in response to adversity, may actually only be required after the adversity is hit. So we have to design them so that we know that they will function correctly after the adversity is hit. And there are plenty of examples around the world of problems which have been encountered in natural disasters where the system to respond wasn't designed to consider what happens after the adversity. So an example might be the police force in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. All the police lived in New Orleans. New Orleans was virtually destroyed by the hurricane, and the effect of that was that all the police were at home looking after their family affairs rather than going and serving as police helping the community. If they had had a way of getting police from somewhere else in the state, they would have had a police force who could perform action that was independent of the disaster. The question is, can you design something which will continue to be able to operate to respond to the disaster event? When we have a disruption, the system capability is likely to be disrupted because parts of the system may be disabled. And we need to focus our attention on the ongoing ability of the system to perform service and deliver service with parts of the system out of action. And so we have these ad hoc changes to the system which arise from the adversity event, which disrupt the capacity of the system to perform its actions, but we still want delivery of an appropriate level of appropriate services from the system. And we tried to develop a way of describing this. So the first version of our state machine model of the effect of adversity on a system was this, and it was pretty chaotic. Later on, one of the other authors and myself produced this version, and this version I think is much clearer, where we have a system which is operating in its nominal state, state A at the top left, and adversity events can act on the system and may result in transition from that state A to any of the transitions on the leading or states on the leading diagonal, noticing that states B, C, D have the system still functional either in whole or in part, having sustained some modification either of how it is performing because of awareness of an adversity or because there has been some damage, but it's still functional in whole or in part. If the system is damaged enough, it becomes non-functional. Later on, we may, as a management action, decide that we will modify the system to become a new modified system. And then, particularly with manufactured systems, pieces of equipment, we can have outcomes of decommissioning them or having them destroyed as a result of the adverse events. On the lower side of the diagonal, you see that there are ways where we can transition from the poorer states back to the higher states. Those represent repair, where we may repair and do a partial restoration, we may repair and do a complete restoration, and what is appropriate to do depends on the circumstances. But in many cases, after a disastrous event, you may need to urgently get some performance, and so you do partial repairs, and then later on, when you have more time and more resources available, you complete the repairs to return to the original intended state of the system. Now, I turn attention to engineering for resilience. And so the general idea of resilience is attractive, as I said at the beginning, and we need to deal with systems that deal with the time phases of what happens before encounter with the adversity, during the encounter, and after the adversity encounter. And so the systems also need to deal with the type A, the externally sourced adversities and the internally sourced ones, and also with the issue of the active and latent adversities. So we need to engineer to cope with a very complex range of possibilities. And so the sources of challenge are that every system is different, so we can't have a standardized procedure for how to develop a resilient system, because what a resilient system means is different in every context. So the definition of the goal can't be the same everywhere. And so each system is built according to its own characteristics. And I rather like the first sentence of the novel. The consequence of this is that there's no standardized path to resilience. And that's a strong statement, because it's a statement about what can exist rather than what does exist. But there can't be a standardized path to get resilience, because each system has its own characteristics. I turn attention now to the measurement of resilience. I did my Ph.D. in the theory of measurement, so I always have an interest in measuring things. And for a long time, I did wonder if it was possible to measure resilience, because it is such a nebulous construct. But I did come up with a way of reasoning about it, which would at least enable an engineer to decide if one system alternative is better than another. And the complexities of resilience I've already gone through. So the measurement is an empirical process that enables us to situate the particular state of a manifestation in a construct which is related to that manifestation. So a measurement needs us to have a clear definition of the observable manifestation, in this case, resilience, and a demonstration that there is a meaningful scale, and that meaningful scale, in my reasoning as an engineer, is it guides the decision about I will build this or I will build that, the alternatives, which alternative is better. And we need some mapping from the manifestation, the system which could experience resilience challenges, to a scale which enables us to understand the behaviour of that system. And so the fuzzy definition of resilience makes that difficult. And I wanted to have a measure which is generalizable to any engineered system. I wanted it to be agnostic of the adversity type, so that it would be relevant for a system which has to confront all kinds, and agnostic of the outcome, both in the short and the long term. So I'm not stipulating that there is a particular kind of outcome which needs to be achieved. And I want it to be cognizant of the fact that the performance of the system is a multidimensional thing. And so currently I have a student who's looking at the combination of this measure of resilience in relation to natural disasters using the Sendai framework of measure of resilience of a community, which has multiple dimensions that relate to physical assets and economic outcomes and social outcomes. So it's a complex issue, and also a desirable measure of resilience needs to be cognizant of the fact that the system will encounter a diverse range of adversity events at various times through its life cycle. So I developed a way of measuring which is designed to be helpful in the design of systems. And so I go back to my comments about an engineered system is provided to deliver service to the stakeholders. And so the focus on measuring the resilience, it should be on the continuity of the delivery of service to the stakeholders. And so most stakeholders have very little interest in how the system works. Their interest is in what it does and whether it does the action. And so they have very little tolerance for explanations of why things aren't working properly that seem like excuses. The classic one in England is the train didn't run because there were leaves on the train line. People think that's an excuse. So these stakeholder service satisfaction can be achieved in various ways. You could have one very reliable asset that always works, and a lot of people do focus on that, which I think probably results in exceptionally expensive assets because you're trying to make them resistant to failure from all causes. Very difficult thing to achieve. Or you could have a way of using a fleet of the asset where you have moderate reliability and individual resistance to failure, but through having a fleet, you can continue to provide the service. If you think of catching the bus, I care that the bus company send a bus according to the timetable. I don't care which bus it is. So they don't need to have a perfect bus. They need to have a fleet which will provide the service. So stakeholder satisfaction depends on getting the expected service, and they want to get that at the time that they expect it. And so service means the whole of what is delivered and the quality of what is delivered. So it's got a complex definition in itself. And the quality of what is delivered leads into the measurement. Now, engineers need to be humble and recognise that what they build can fail. And failures are caused by adversities, either internal or external. And the engineer's goal is to design a system that can provide a defined level of service within a defined environment envelope for a proposed system configuration, where the system configuration includes both the system of interest asset, which does the work, and all of the support arrangements around it. So the logistics, the maintenance, the support personnel, the operating personnel, the training, everything. All of those things have to be operating so that the system can end up delivering its intended purpose. Now, in the design of systems, we normally have a way of doing a trade space analysis to decide which alternative is better than the other alternatives. And that is normally done during design time to make choices about the design configuration, focusing on if everything is working correctly, what will be the outcome. So understanding the importance of levels of performance in each of the dimensions of possible performance, which in relation to communities and natural disasters might be using the Sendai framework. The system under normal operating conditions will produce certain levels, and then when challenged by an adversity of a particular disaster, you may have impairment of certain things in that system as a result of the disaster. Through predicting what that impairment is, you can predict what will be the performance of that system in relation to each of those dimensions, and using an analytic hierarchy process of identifying the dimension, identifying the level of performance, and also the weighting of importance of the dimension to the judgment of outcome of the value of the system that you are engineering, and the value of the particular level of performance that can be delivered, that would enable you to make a judgment that alternative 1 is better than alternative 2. Now consider the whole of the life cycle of the system. During its life cycle, the system will be subjected to various adversities which challenge it. Those will result in some reduction in the capacity to deliver performance in relation to one or more of the dimensions of interest, which would decrease the value. But if you're looking at the configuration of the system with its support, which includes maintenance and restoration activities, some alternatives may be easier to restore to proper behavior than others, and so they may be more desirable. So a method that could be used is to take effectively a time integral over the whole of the expected life cycle of the system, and then use a Monte Carlo analysis given the probability distribution functions of the possible adversities and their magnitudes, and consequently their effect on the system, and model the system as a discrete event system, because adversities could be modeled as discrete events and actions of restoration are discrete events. Model the system that way, and with a Monte Carlo analysis, that would give you a distribution of the measure of performance for the first alternative, and then model it for another alternative, and then you can make a determination that over the life cycle, one alternative is better than the other. I developed that with an equation, which you can find developed properly in one of the papers I give in a reference on the final slide. But this results in a figure of merit, in which we have a figure of merit to describe each alternative, from which we can look at the distribution and make a decision about which distribution of possible outcomes is likely to be better in our interests, and then that guides our decision about which alternative to go to. And so we have to consider things to do with distributions, what the mean is, what the measure of deviation is, but also if there are outlier events which are utterly disastrous, because one system may be reasonably good, except it gives us a vulnerability to a total disaster. That may mean another system which isn't quite as good might actually be the better one. So we need to make a judgment about the distribution of the possible outcomes in order to decide what is good. And so applications, I designed this for the traditional manufactured piece of equipment concept, but also I'm currently having a student looking at it as a way of measuring community resilience to a range of possible outcomes, and the results are looking very promising. They've at least shown that it appears to be a reasonable system for making a judgment that an intervention may be better than another intervention. So these are a couple of papers which I've published which are related to it, and I finish my presentation. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tim. What a fascinating presentation. Tim started from the basic idea and philosophy about the contribution of engineering in terms of resilience engineering. Start from the definition of the what resilience is, then the context or condition of the adversity, capability, and the system itself. I think there will be more question to Tim, hopefully from the audience. So we will, before we move to the second and third keynote speakers, because Tim has limited time because it's already early morning there. Sorry taking your time, Tim. So please, the audience, if you have questions, comments, and about the topic that has been that has delivered by Tim, please time is yours for the audience, please. Any questions? Yeah, please raise your hand and please introduce yourself first. Anyone? Please, the organizer, if I can't see all the audience, if there is. Okay, there is a question from the meeting chat. Can you read the question also, Tim? The question from Arif Mansur. In your presentation, you discuss the importance of resilience measured in system design, emphasizing their generalizability and the need for them to be agnostic of adversity type and outcome. Could you elaborate on how engineers can integrate these resilience measures effectively in the early stages of system design to ensure minimal service disruption during unforeseen adversities? That's one question from the audience, from the meeting chats. Please, Tim, time yours.
Yes. So the adverse outcomes from the system result from damage which occurs to parts or the whole of the system. And so what we would need to do is analyze what would be the effect in the system of a failure of either a component or a subsystem or some major asset. And that would result in a change of performance. The the different adversities could have different impact on what things they break. So we would need to have a physical phenomenon analysis to determine what would break under conditions of different kinds of adversity. The reason that I'm concerned about that is I've seen a lot of work where people are talking about trying to make, for instance, the power distribution network resilient against space weather. Space weather is only one problem that the power distribution network could encounter. In Australia, you have a problem in the power distribution network of having to face vandals with rifles shooting out the insulators on transmission lines. A completely different adversity, but you want to know what the effect on the power supply network is of that as well, and you have certain probabilities of the different kinds of event occurring, the space weather and the vandalism. But each of those mechanisms has the possibility of disrupting the structure of the system and therefore its performance. If you were looking at natural disasters, it may be that you are in a place which is subject to multiple kinds of disaster. So places I know in Australia, I'm an Australian, can be subject to fire, bushfires, floods, extreme drought. They can be subject to these different kinds of adversity. And if we design something which is only cognizant of protecting against one of those things, it may be poorly designed in relation to another. And so what we want to do is review any design of any intervention method so that it will be aware of what will happen under both its in the specific thing that we're designing it for and under the conditions of the other possible adversities, so that we can make a judgment about what set of assets is it worth investing in as a community. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Tim. Hopefully it answered the questions. Next, we have Ibu Prima Fitri. Please, Ibu Prima.
Thank you, Pak Iwan. Hi, Prof. Tim. I'm Prima. Nice to
Thanks,
meet
Prima.
you here. Okay, I have a question. We know that there are so many small medium enterprise in Indonesia, especially in Padang. Do you think that can the resilient engineering be implemented in Indonesia's SMEs industry? Do you think that we can implement it, maybe especially in Padang?
I think it could be, because in the city you would be looking at building assets which would be able to withstand or respond appropriately to particular disaster events which occur. And so you may be subject to extreme tropical weather, which gives flooding effects, but you could also be subject to earthquakes, which are physically a fundamentally different thing. And so if you did analysis of structures which you are building to determine how they would respond under those different physical events, given that there's a probability of the different events occurring, you could develop the figure of merit for what would be the outcome over the design life of the system, whether you're designing it for a short economic return time like 10 or 20 years, or designing it, say, for 100 or 200 years, if it's a physically long life asset. And the second paper, which I referred to, which is on the screen at the moment, was about that time value of resilience. Once you've built an asset, people start to rely on it, and so it becomes more important to the community when it gets old, which of course is when it's wearing out. And so means have to be dealt with around that. And so I think that through looking at how the various assets which are under consideration as means of dealing with challenges would perform under each of the kinds of challenge which is likely to occur, sufficiently likely to occur that you know about it, you can then do an analysis and get the figure of merit and look at the city, for example, as a designed system. Thank you.
All right. Thank you,
you,
Tim.
Prof. Tim. Thank you,
Thank you.
Fauzan.
Yeah, thank you. We will hopefully answer the questions. I think we can have one more questions due to the limit times. I think Tim has got to go. The audience, if you have one more question, please. Any questions? Any more questions? All right. Okay. Another question from the meeting chat. You can also read from the meeting chat, Tim, from Hendra Pratama.
If you could read it out,
Okay,
I'd
I'll
have to
try to
fund
read for you. How can implementing resilient measurement in system design and management to logistic maritime? Indonesia, as archipelagic state, need a resilient logistic shipping to facing climate change. Do you get the questions?
So you need resilient shipping in relation to climate change.
Yeah.
Yep.
In terms of logistic maritime, management to logistic maritime.
So the climate change matters in this context because it causes a change in how the shipping can be performed and the performance of the shipping. And so you would have choices in designing assets, whether it's the mobile assets or the fixed assets of origin and destination ports, that you would need to design them so that the performance would be appropriate given physical effects which come out of the climate change, whether it's things such as change of sea level or the disruption of various extreme weather events, designing so that those assets that you are considering would continue to work appropriately. And that, for some of them, that could be quite challenging because change of sea level would lead to inundation of areas of land, whereas extreme rainfall, for example, is a different kind of problem in that it causes a short-term flooding event. And so different design alternatives may be stronger in relation to one or the other of those situations, but you need to consider both because they're the outcomes of the climate change. Thanks.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Tim.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hopefully answer ya, Hendra Pratama.
Yes, right.
Okay, Tim. Due to the limited times, yeah, we have to finish this session. So we will move to the other speakers. Tim, again, thank you very much for your time. Have a great day there.
Thank you. And I need to stop sharing my screen so that somebody else can.
All right. Well, distinguished guests and speaker, we will move to the next speakers. We will have Dr. Chayawan Watanachan from Prince Songkla University, Thailand. Dr. Chayawan, you are here already? Are you here already?
Yes,
Yeah,
Mr.
okay.
Chairman.
Right. Okay, Dr. Chayawan, for the next 20 minutes and more, time is yours.
Allow me to share my slide, please. Okay, can you see my slide?
Yeah, we get it.
Okay, great. My presentation is much more on application or apply information to the farmer, to the group of farmer. And this one should be an example or a case example for you to consider, because I think Thailand and Malaysia, Indonesia, Malaysia, we have the same problem about oil palm plantation, particularly when we thinking about the small scale or smallholder farming system, which is have less number of the plantation land, for example, less than 10 hectare, or they cannot produce more, and the price of the fresh palm fruit also low, production yield low, and probably not meet the EU standard. So they have problem to sell the fruit to the company. And also most of them get the complaint from many people about they create many problems. They're causing a climate change, they damage the land or the soil problem. This is something that I would like to share to you. Okay. Mostly palm oil in southern Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia doing as the monoculture. And of course, more than 20 years, we try to integrate livestock into the plantation because we have many reasons. For example, to control the green habits, to reduce the cost of petrol, and we want to utilize the green herbage as much as possible. So we allow cattle, goat, and also sheep to graze on the plantation. Maybe about 8 to 12 years after the canopy increased, then we have to stop or change to another places. And also this way we can utilize the leaf or the front better than just throw into the plantation. Okay. In Thailand, I don't know, in Malaysia, in Sumatra, in Indonesia, but in Thailand, before COVID-19 pandemic, the price of palm is very good. But after the pandemic, the price of palm dropped a lot. In the year 2017, the price dropped to 3.5 to 4.5 baht for the low palm fruit. Before that, the price was around 9 to 10 baht. And until now, the year 2025, the price about 4.4 to 6 baht per kilogram, only that. And this causing many problems, and they also blame them that they create a lot of problem to environment. So what we are doing, we set up the work at Krabi province, very near to Phuket, and we arrange a meeting with the farmer, and we came in with many problems. For example, the price lower, and they are too small scale to cannot, and in the productive not very well. They got a lot of household debt, and they have shortage of labors, and they got inflation and economic slowdown, and also, as I mentioned earlier, that their production not meet EU standard, so they cannot send the palm fruit to the oil company. And what we are doing, and we using ABC method to work together with them. What is ABC? This term we set up in Thailand. The meaning is area-based collaborative research and development program. We apply this, and what we are doing to talk with them. We arrange the meeting, listen them, and try to get to listen what was the problem, and try to work together with them, with many parties. For example, local company, local government agencies, people from university and colleges, and use participatory process to get a question, the correct question. And after that, we come out with what we should do or should work for them. For this case, they want to have extra activity, and they want us to help them to increase their palm production standards. So in terms of livestock, actually we introduce chicken, local native chicken to them, but they don't want. We try to introduce them a cattle, native cattle like a Kedah Kelantan, a small one, but they also don't want. They want a goat. So we set up goats, a model, a blessing model under plantation with them, and together with mushroom production, because they want to have more money. And also we want them to have chicken, as I mentioned, because chicken can produce egg, but they don't want. Okay, what we are doing after we know their need, we are set up a program to help them in terms of oil palm production system, to increase the palm yield, to teach them about environmental control, moisture control in the soil, and for goat, we teach them how to raising goat under the plantation. Okay, let's see. This is our working process that we had done with them. We use participatory activity and arrange a meeting every time when we work with them. Even we set up the the research system. We are work together with them, but before that we arrange the meeting, every meeting, and we set up a training program for them for oil palm production system, for gold production system, and for mushroom production system, together with the information about environmental care and the marketing. Okay, this is an idea. This is very common idea. I think in Indonesia you also have this kind of idea. Palm oil is the base or is the major production, and the rest are the supporting production. But what we want them to do is we introduce them some simple equipment, because we want them to have more precision work in terms of oil palm plantation and in terms of gold production and mushroom production as well. And here, what we introduce, similar to Indonesian, we teach them how to use
Apa dia ini, Pak?
utilize
Apa?
the oil palm front, even in terms of the fresh one, in terms of the silage one, and in terms of use oil palm front as the base for mushroom production. We also set up many route to contact with the farmer using line system, telephone line system, computer, email, and at the same time we train them. You can see our project was done during the year 2020 to 2023, and we give them, the Anglo-Nubian crossbred 50% or boar crossbred to replace 100% boar, because most of them believe that 100% boar or 75% of boar is better to raise under the plantation, but actually no. Okay, after training, we teach them about basic information of gold production, because they have nothing, the knowledge of gold, they have zero knowledge of gold. So we teach them about this, body condition score, the primary health care, eye control, and parasites, and we arrange the meeting, not only gold production, but in terms of growing pasture nearby the plantation as well. And we also provide books and poster and educate them in terms of marketing too. And the most important is what we are doing with them. We calculate their income and economic status. For example, return of investment and social return of investment. SROI and ROI. ROI and SROI both are required from the Thai government. Now, if we set up research work, extension work, whatever with the group of farmers, we have to calculate this. And we have to do this. I will show you later. And this is the result. We have very good success in terms of gold production system in oil palm plantation with the smallholder farmer. And also, we report to the government that our training and install knowledge to the farmer was based on bio-circular and green economies, that according to the government, as well as we also return information about SROI and ROI to them. And the farmer concerned now to a lot about using grass or green herbage under plantation. They can use very well. And I mean, that at the same time, the front can use with and mushroom. But mushroom, I will explain you. Okay, this is economics that we calculate with the farmer. And we also help them to set up the goat market because they want to sell market. And the Krabi province can reduce to import, reduce number of imported goat from outside, I mean, from other provinces. And they have enough money, enough live goat for their religion activity as well. But for mushroom, because we introduced bamboo mushroom, and we didn't success for that because farmer cannot make a good care for that. Even they understand that they should do BCG, bio circular and green economics, but to use the oil palm frond for bamboo mushroom production didn't success. So we changed it to straw mushroom production using oil palm frond as the base lavage for the mushroom as well. Anyway, a farmer can accept our oil palm plantation care and the production model. I'm sorry for this. And the color is not nice. But when we calculate the SROI, we can show that they need about 3.5 years to get the better return. However, after we calculate the income, we noticed that half of them got 500 baht per month extra increase, and another half of them got around 501 to 1,500 baht. They can reduce their fertilizer and can have extra income. This is my SROI. The government don't want, minus, the figure should not be minus. But we are lucky when we calculate this and report to the government. We got 1 baht in waste yields for a social return of 1.01 baht. And the ROI will take about 3.5 years. Yes. Actually, the government want this for 2 years, but we cannot make it. But anyway, it can be accepted from the government too. Okay. This, as I have I mentioned earlier that oil palm production and gold with gold and mushroom could be an example for sustainable and resilient model for the small household farmer who got the oil palm plantation lower than 10 hectares, lower 10 hectares. And the community, they can enhance their agricultural productivity, community, and well-being. This research and development model that we call ABC can be help us to work together with the Thai farmer and raising awareness among the group of the farmer. And we also give recommendation to Krabi province government that they should support a lot to the farmer. And especially for the farmer stakeholder, integration production system can be done, but then they have to concern more on production. They have to meet EU standard. At the same time, they have to help them to get a market for the extra job. And the staff of the local staff, the provincial staff also have to promote farmer activity as well. And when we calculate the SDG, we think that this kind of work can help the farmer. And according to SDG 1, 2, 3, 8, 12, and also 13 and 17. I came up with the end of my slide. I would like to thank International Conference, Science, Technology, and Innovation Research Community Engagement Institute, Universitas Andalas, Indonesia, to invite me to join this conference. And also this work. The work has supported by Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Research Innovation Thailand, Faculty of Natural Resources, and also Krabi Province's Department of Livestock and Development, Ministry of Agriculture, Cooperative Thailand. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Chayawan. What an interesting study here and project. And I think in the context of Indonesia, we are quite close with this idea. We have a lot of palm oil plantation also, like we are in West Sumatra. All right. The audience, Bapak Ibu, if you have questions and comments about the presentation from Dr. Chayawan, please raise your hand, or if you want to write down the question from the meeting text also possible. Okay, we have one question from Rudy Mansa. Please, 10 is yours, Pak Rudy.
Okay,
Yes, please.
thank you, Pak Iwan, for opportunity. Excuse me, do you hear my voice?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Thank you for Dr. Chayawan for opportunity, and I am interested in your presentation on the integration of goat farming with oil palm plantation. On your presentation slide, I can see the kind of breed of goat that you used on your research. On my question is, what is the goat breeds do you recommend it for this integration? Because in Indonesia we also have several breed goats, local and foreign breeds, and also the farmer do the crossbreed local and the other breed from foreign. So what kind of the breed of goat that you recommended for this integrated farming in palm oil and goat raising. Thank you.
Thank you. I forgot to tell you that the group of farmers that I work with at that time, I divided into two groups. One group, they have no experience at all about goat. They just want to raising goat. And another group, they have experience with goat, but they keep 100% purebred of Boer goat, very big size, European breed. And I noticed from long research work with Thai and other foreigner research work, we noticed that purebred goat like Boer goat, Kalahari goat cannot cannot produce good in the oil palm plantation, especially for the local oil palm plantation, because they eat a lot. And based on the front, the quality of the front, in terms of protein quality, is not so good. And the digestibility of the oil palm front not lower than grass because of the high content of cellulose in the oil palm frond. So what we are doing is we reduce the breed, the percentage of the blood of the goat from 100% European breed into the crossbreed one. For example, 50% of Boer goat plus Kacang goat. I think in Indonesia, do you have Kacang goat?
Yes, yes.
Goat? Yes.
Yes.
Kacang goat is good, and they can survive under the oil palm plantation system. But the body size is too small. Even easy to raising, but too small. Cannot make a profit from that, but it's good for religion slaughtering, So we recommend to have 50% Boer plus Kacang or 50% Anglo-Nubian plus Kacang. What we are doing is we let them to share an idea, because those who have experience with Boer, they still want to keep 75% or 100% of Boer. So what we are doing is we do a study together with them and compare between 100% Boer goat and university goat. And after 6 months, they noticed that the survival rate, we're not good. We're not talking about the ADG. We're talking about survival rate. The survival rate of the goat of the 50% European breed plus Kacang Boer or Anglo-Nubian can survive better than 100% Boer. And they can save a lot of money from concentrate feed, because they can take more oil palm leaf frond and grass under the plantation. So what I recommend is 50% Anglo-Nubian plus Kacang or not more than that, because it's easy for farmers to take care, and they can tolerate disease and intestinal worm. Is it okay?
Okay. Thank you, sir. More question? Is it possible? Because very interested your explanation. Is it possible if we try to breed for dairy goat, sir? Because if we cross Kacang and Boer goat, and then Kacang and Anglo-Nubian is for beef goat, and how about the dairy goat? Is it possible if we use Sanen crossbreed and something like that? Thank you.
We did that also. There is a big company now raising 75 to 82% of sun and goat plus ajang in the plantation. But then the farmer must have extra grass paddock because the dairy goat cannot survive with in terms of nutrient composition with the oil palm frond. So you must have extra grass paddock. That's my answer. And okay, another thing is if you can extend the length of the palm, because normally in Thai the length of one palm to one palm is 9 meter to 10 meter length. If you can extra from 9 or 10 to 12, that should be nice to have grass, but the production yield of palm also reduced a little bit.
Yes.
If they can accept that, you can have that. But another thing for dairy goat is you have to control the moisture, because if you have goat barn under the plantation, the moisture is too high. Then if you can reduce that, that means you can produce dairy goat as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Shawan. Hopefully answer the questions, Pak Rusli.
Yes.
Okay, we have another question from the meeting chat box. If you can also read the questions, but I'll read it for you, Dr. Shawan. Identifying the total present value of benefits within the social return on investment, or SROI framework, often poses significant challenges, particularly because many social benefits are intangible, long-term, and difficult to capture using financial indicators. How can appropriate quantification method be developed to overcome these limitations, especially in estimating the value of
Can
indirect?
you speak closer? Can you speak closer? I cannot hear well.
Okay, wait. Sorry, wait a second.
You hear my voice?
Yes.
Okay,
Now.
cool. Yeah, Dr. Chawan, we have a question from the audience from Asfarina Pavitra from ITS Surabaya, East Java. The question is, identifying the total present value of benefits within the social return on investment, SROI, framework often poses significant challenges, particularly because many social benefits are intangible, long-term, and difficult to capture using financial indicators. How can appropriate quantification method be developed to overcome these limitations, especially in estimating the value of indirect social benefits, accounting for uncertainties in the timing of benefit realization, and minimizing subjective biases in the evaluation process, so that the SROI result remain valid and credible? That's the question.
Okay. First thing, the Thai government want us to do. So we have to do. But the funny thing is, when we run 1 year of research, it is difficult to get a result of ROI and SROI because it takes time. So what we are doing is we ask people from socioeconomics to train us how to calculate. And so these people provide us information that what factor we have to get, and then we have to calculate according to the recommendation. They have something that we have to calculate according to their recommendation. And I mean, within 1 year, that one cannot, the figure cannot show, show you very clear. But they have some factor to what I should say, recalculate, because that is not my career. But that we have to train, from them. We get the training from them, and they come to help us to get information enough to calculate that.
Okay.
So I cannot give you, for the limited of time, I cannot explain more. But yes, some of you, even for Thai people, the question is this bias or not? But they try to reduce bias by they have some factor to reduce that. Okay, but all government project must calculate this. Yes, now.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Chayawan.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, distinguished guests and audience. I think due to the limit times, we will move to the next speaker. Again, many thanks, Dr. Chayawan. We are so grateful for having you here, and have a great day there.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Matt. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih. Well, last but not least, we will have Professor Fredolin Tanggang here. Nice to have you again. Meet you again, Professor. We
Hello,
will.
everyone. Yeah, can you hear me well?
Yeah, we can hear. I can hear you. I think the audience also can hear you. Seems you are in Indonesia because your background's BMKG.
Yes. I purposely requested to sit where
All
the
right.
background is BMKG. Yeah.
Okay, Professor. You will have about 20 until 30 minutes to deliver your presentations. Time is yours now.
Thank you. All right, let me share my slide then. You see my slide? All right.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Priwan. First, let me thank the organizer, of course, Andalas University, and specifically Prof. Marzuki, for inviting me to these talks. And I think I have given a talk at Andalas University at least once or twice, and probably on the same subject, which is on climate change. So if you heard my talk before, probably you will see some of the same stuff. So I was actually a former IPCC vice chair for Working Group 1 in the so-called AR5 cycle. So whenever I talk, I usually share most of the slides that I have from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, the United Nations Climate Change Panel, because when we're talking about global climate change, these are you're talking about a credible organization, credible information, rather than from a specific research. You heard previous speakers talking about growth, I think, innovation and so on. But here we're talking about problem of the world, and sooner or later, probably we have already been impacted in some way or another. But things will getting worse and worse. An opportunity for us to come up with solution. Opportunity for us to come up with something that can lessen the impacts and so on all kind of sectors, including food security. Earlier, you're talking about goat, something related to food security. I used to be part of UKM, University Kebangsaan Malaysia, for a long time, but I retired in 2023, moved to University of Brunei. So currently I am in University of Brunei. So I choose a particular title, Climate Change and Human Security this time, because it is about human security. If we are not able, if the world is not able to solve this very challenging problem. So this was my talk. I hopefully I have ample time to talk. I have about 40 slides or so. So first let me share what is actually IPCC means by this so-called human security. So human security in the context of climate change is a condition that exists when the vital core of human life is protected. So what is the vital core of this human life is all kind of things, including environment, including food security, settlement, all kind of things that actually govern our life, including ecosystem. So if all this actually affected by climate change, it will be directly or indirectly will affect human security in not only causing our actual safety, but all kind of things, including social aspect and economic aspect and so on. So this is something that I would like to highlight here, and highlighting how serious, what is the evidence from the IPCC when we're talking about climate change and so on. So please bear with me. So some of you maybe know this IPCC, but I have a lot of text there. But I just want to simplify it here is that United Nations created this IPCC more than 30 years ago under two parent organizations. So this is actually a platform, a neutral platform, a credible platform where report about climate change is produced every once in every 7 or 8 years, the so-called cycle. And whatever I have here, basically what I'm going to present in this presentation is basically coming from the so-called sixth assessment report. And this is the basis of all negotiation, all kind of treaty in the international level, including Paris Agreement. And of course, most government use this as a basis on what needs to be done at the national level. So maybe I skip this one, because it's a bit complex, but it requires IPCC every 6 years ago, and this is in this cycle they assess available knowledge in the literature world and put it in a convincing manner in about what is the status of climate change. And this is actually the pictorial picture of how some of this report for the last since for the last 50 years. In the latest one actually a 6th assessment report, but currently IPCC in the process of producing another report, which is a 7th assessment report, and many Indonesians involved in this process as well, including perhaps some of you know Professor Edwin Adrian is actually the current vice chair of the working group 1. So in the 6th assessment report, IPCC came up with this statement. It says that recent changes in the climate are widespread, rapid, intensifying, and unprecedented in thousands of years. So this is a very, very significant statement about climate change. Of course, in the previous assessment, it says that climate change is real and human is the cause. But now it says widespread, rapid, intensifying, and unprecedented in thousands of years. Even last year, this is not from the IPCC, but this is the latest observation about how high this temperature. In 2024, it was 1.5 above pre-industrial, and this is already above the Paris Agreement actually. Of course, the El Nino contributed to this, but we are actually nearing already encroaching into 1.5 level of the Paris Agreement, basically. So if you're following the news about climate change around the world, all kind of extreme already been happening. Flooding in Pakistan very last few days, killing, unusual flooding, flash flood, forest fires, heat, and so on. Even in part of Sumatra and Kalimantan, the drying pattern is unexplained, basically, which of course causing forest fires that causing the transboundary haze in the last 1 month or so. So this is the temperature when the IPCC report was produced. It was about 1.1 degrees Celsius higher, but look at the curve there. It's been rising since 1970s or 1960s, but the high temperature that we have now in the current time, if we compare this with the last 2,000 years, this is the highest, unprecedented, in the last 2,000 years. This is something that very, very, and if we look at, this is again globally, if you look at the trend of extremes, temperature and extreme rainfall around the world, significant almost everywhere, and scientists were able to attribute this to human activities, basically, And of course, there I was talking about only temperature and rainfall, but actually, when come to changes, it wasn't just temperature, it wasn't just rainfall. The whole component of the climate system has shown systematic shifting, systematic changes since the last few decades, actually. Not just, of course, rainfall, not just temperature, but of course carbon dioxide, but also sea level rise as well as the heat in the ocean, so-called ocean heat content. Because 90% of this additional heat, because of greenhouse gases, especially absorbed by the ocean. So when it comes to changes, IPCC were able to document about, for example, CO2, the changes is like highest in 2 million, sea level changes fastest in 3,000 years, changes in the sea ice is 1,000 years, unprecedented, and so on. So everything is changing in IPCC, changing in a rapid way. So particularly if we look at the CO2 here, this is actually the graph on the left. Maybe I should get the laser pointer here. The graph on the left here. This is about 1 million years. This is coming from this ice core, which is in Antarctica. Scientists dig it in 3 to 4 kilometers in bubble air, the trap in this ice core here. Scientists can extract and measure the CO2 directly. And this is what you get here. And of course, it's going up and down. This is associated with the changes in the orbital, of the Earth circling the Sun. And this is known to scientists, of course. And the changes of this from the lowest to the highest here, it takes about maybe 20 or 30,000 to 40,000 years. And also the range of this only around 300 to 400, 300 to from 180 or 200 to 300. What we have since pre-industrial, human activities actually changes to today's values around 425 parts per million. So what we have here is the same. This is same data, but this is from the IPCC report. The same kind of message, but it also showed that not just the CO2 exchanges, but methane as well as nitrous oxide. But convincingly, those from other session, but not very far from Andalas University as well in Kota Tabang. BMKG has this station so-called WMO GAU, Global Atmospheric Station, as one of the network around the globe that measuring this. And this smooth one here, this is from Hawaii, in the middle of the ocean, Mauna Loa, and very smooth. Whatever data from 2006 until now from Kota Tabang, not very smooth, but it doesn't really matter the trend is increasing. It's very much consistent with the global measurement, especially from manual law. So CO2 is increasing globally, basically. And because of this CO2, which is the main greenhouse gas, scientists were able that using model be able to explain this rising temperature, the black one here, since 1960s, with model can be explained by model if the model is taking information out of this GHG, out of this CO2 increase, Otherwise, if the model is not, if the information on the increase of GHG is not included in the model, the temperature is just flat. There is no increase. Okay, so that means whatever increase that we experienced since 1960s basically is caused by greenhouse gases, and scientists were able to calculate in this period 2010 and 2019. This is how much the warming was, and IPCC were able to compute that the total human influence here very much matched with this global observed warming in the climate system. And other contribution, for example, inter-annual variability, some solar and volcanic, doesn't play much role in terms of this period. So this is another powerful evidence from the IPCC to show that it is human activities that So enhance, of course, this conclusion that human is responsible in driving these changes that we have seen for the last, since 1960s, 1970s. Not just temperature that they keep rising up, but also extreme becoming more and more frequent as well as intense around the world. So how this work actually? So you have greenhouse gases trapping more heat, and what's coming in is almost the same for a long time, but what's going out becoming less and less because of these greenhouse gases. And this is what the IPCC or scientists term as a relative imbalance. Which means that the heat within the climate system is being trapped more and more, and 90%, in fact, they stated 91% of this additional heat trapped by greenhouse gases actually absorbed by the ocean, because the ocean has a capacity to absorb this high heat capacity, and this is indicated by this rising heat content. This is a real observation. The rising heat content in the ocean. So the ocean is basically increasing temperature, heat content, sea surface temperature, and because of that, it's basically you get these changes in the regional climate, because ocean is the engine of regional climate. Some people question how come scientists know about so much about the ocean, because ocean is so vast. About 70% of the but the ocean is well monitored and well absorbed around the world. Basically, for example, this is in the tropical ocean. You have buoy like this monitoring 24/7. But in addition to that we do have this so-called Argo float. Some of you oceanographer can know this perhaps, where it moves with the current. Go down and then move with the current, observe, and come back in about 2 weeks or so and upload the data to satellite. And at one time, for example, this is May 2011, is everywhere. This is a real data, and IPCC basically using this kind of data to understand how the ocean is warming. So observation tell us enough to convince that the world is changing, climate is changing, but what is more important, basically, the future. The future is more important. The future is important for us, because if the future says that this thing will continue, something that need to be done. And of course, the future you cannot observe, but of course with tools like climate model, you can get some kind of scenario. And speaking about scenario, this global model need to be forced with emission scenario, and the way IPCC frame this is that those models need to be forced with the worst case scenario. At the same time, we need information about this sustainability, where if the world goes into sustainability, what is the prospect and so on. So using this kind of information, this can drive climate actions, basically not just at the international level, but also at the national level and the local level. So using this kind of model, and we can produce map like this. For example, what happened if the world reached 1.5 degree warming? What happened if the world reached 2-degree warming and so on? So, but before that, what you have here, 1 degree here, this is observed. What you have here, this is projected. So model have capability to simulate this kind of changes very well if you compare, very, very consistent. So that give you a good confidence in terms of, 1.5, 2 degree and so on. But if we look at 2 degree, for example, the average is 2 degree, but actually, if you look at especially over the northern hemisphere, that is already perhaps 3 or 4 degree higher. If you're talking about 4 degree, here it could be more than 10 degrees. And of course, that has a lot of implication in terms of, ice melting and so on, and sea level rise. So similarly, using this kind of tool, you can understand how rainfall will be changing in the future, according to scenario, according to global warming level like this. So scientists can use this kind of tool to project even beyond 2100. Okay, so 2100 worst case scenario. This is worst case scenario here. So this is the temperature look like, and this is if we compare this one with what the Earth experienced like 3 million years ago. This is almost similar, And we're talking about that kind of scenario, high emission and so on continues. By 2300, the Earth will be like similar to like 60 million years ago, which is the level of temperature is 15 degree. And with this kind of temperature, ecosystem, perhaps human will not be able to survive as well, because human is dependent on what is in the surrounding and so on. So what we need to go is this one here. This is the lowest scenario, the sustainability, where by 2100, a little bit warmer than what we have now, and by 2300 it's also almost similar. But this kind of temperature increase, we didn't still the Earth, the system is livable with a little bit of vegetation here and there. Perhaps we can, But when we go into this kind of temperature increase, we might not be able to even adapt because of that kind of temperature, But the point is that here you're talking about million, here you're talking about 100 only, So how fast this thing changing because of human activities, So we can summarize this kind of thing, something like this. So all this, in the last thousands of years, the Earth temperature climate swing to the left to right because of this glacial interglacial thing. But after pre-industrial, humans start pumping these greenhouse gases and changing the trajectory of the Earth into this kind of high temperature. And if the human continue doing this thing, it will go into this kind of hothouse thing. And human would need to, for survivability, security, we need to steer back, put the Earth into a climate trajectory where, sustainability is important there. So those are global, where global climate model use. But when come to a particular region like our region, a little bit more complex, we need to, refine this model. And this is what we call regional climate downscaling, and this is why I'm here in Jakarta. We had a workshop on this regional climate downscaling. We do have a particular project, a so-called Codex, where Codex basically a global initiative, but in South Asia we call it Codex South Asia. We downscale further from the resolution of 100 to 200 kilometer at the global scale, global model scale, into 25 kilometer, and you know, some product can even go to like 8 kilometer and 5 kilometer. You know, so this is it. This is what I said. Context here. This, you know, for South Asia, this is something that I very much involved, because I basically developed this, you know, like more than 10 years ago, and even after I retired, I'm still part of this initiative, basically. So in the first phase, we downscale many models. Not only one single model. Here we have many models here. You know, for a good reason. When it comes to projection in the future, although model is a tool, but there's no single model that can tell you, this is the right one. But the game is that we need to use many models. There is a good reason why this is the case, but maybe I don't have time to explain here. You know, but I just want to highlight the key finding from those model here for Indonesia. Okay, for Indonesia maritime country, including Malaysia. You know, so this is the projected dryness, you know, compared with baseline, you know. So this is basically we use a particular index called CDD. This is consecutive dry days, number of days without rain. So it's an indicator of dryness, can be indicator of drought as well. You know, so we plotted this 2 degree and 4 degree level in the future, and we plotted for June, July, August, which is a dry season for most of the for Malaysia and Indonesia, and also 4 degrees. You know, so if we look at these 2 seasons, look at this. This is a changes of CDD, and when you have this color, this means increasing 50%. 50% mean if the mean of you know, no rain days now, let's say 2 weeks, 50% maintenance, you know, it would become 3 weeks in the future, no rain, you know, something like that, basically. So this has implication in terms of a lot of you know, water resources, into forest fires and food security and so on, you know. But not only that, we know that you know, El Nino, we are facing a problem with El Nino in the current climate, and whenever we have El Nino, we have increase in CDD, and this is the same thing, but this is based on BMKG data, also CDD plotted for every station, including those in Sumatra, of course. So during June, July, August, during El Nino year, you have dryness. During SON, you have dryness. This is what the condition that basically favorable for forest fires and so on whenever we have El Nino. You know. So same thing with Malaysia. Basically, we're more or less facing the same problem. You know. So this is current climate. It's happening whenever we have El Nino. You know. So this is not model or something like that, but observe reality. You know. So you know, but in the future, you know, because of the climate change, as I showed you earlier, you know, perhaps you don't have El Nino to wait for El Nino to have this kind of condition, because the magnitude of increase during CDD during El Nino is almost similar to that because of the climate change in the future. But El Nino also becoming more frequent. This is one example here. This is not from my research. This is an example. If we plot the observed between so-called meridional sea surface temperature and Nino 3 rainfall, you get this kind of pattern where, you know, the extreme El Nino will emerge something like this. So using model, you can plot, and the pattern is the same. So this one can be categorized with you know, as extreme, you know, but below here not extreme. But look at the periods here. This is 1891 until 1990, but from 1991 to 2090 here, meaning more. So this is you know, these people here estimated that in the future, if it's becoming warmer, the extreme El Nino like 97, 98, 2015, 2016, the frequency become more, you know. So this is not good news for us. If I can add another one, this is actually the latest projection from Singapore, 8 kilometer around, around Southeast Asia. This is a heat wave. The worst case scenario. This is a worst case scenario here. The heat wave. Look, this is a frequency. This is a frequency. Number of days of having heat waves. If you look at this one, this color here, okay, this color here. This is 200 to the 300, per year. Look at Sumatra, look at Kalimantan, Java, of course Malaysia there. In terms of frequency, it means like in the future, if the world following this worst case scenario, it means that every day is heat wave, every day is heat wave. So the average duration, if you look at, is more over Sumatra and Kalimantan, and the magnitude is more than 40. So this is not really a good news for things. So, but this is a scenario here. So in the observed, whenever we El Nino, we have dry throughout the region, Sumatra, Kalimantan, GGA, and as well as SON. In the future, even without El Nino, we have this kind of condition. Why I said even without El Nino? Because this is average 30 years. Each of these average 30 years. So when you average 30 years, basically you remove the inter-annual gravity, you remove the El Nino signal in the model. What you get is a climate change signal. So meaning that in the future, even without climate El Nino, you will get this signal. And this signal is equivalent to this signal here, which means you having like every year El Nino. But El Nino also becoming more frequent, which means that El Nino, whenever years that El Nino occur, things will be becoming very bad. And of course, I also highlighted that heat wave is becoming more frequent in the future. So another thing, of course, globally, you have this issue where after certain temperature threshold is reached, the system might introduce this so-called, might reach this so-called or trigger this so-called climate tipping points, where once this is reached, the changes become more abrupt and more fast and so on, and kind of chaotic, and this is another bad news for So when it comes to the impact on all these important sectors, which IPCC said that vital core of human lives, it has already been impacted. All these have already been impacted, and more impact, of course, when temperature increase in the future. And of course, easy enough for us to associate with the degradation and deterioration of human security, because when water security, when the food production, when the health, your living, condition in the cities, in the settlement, and infrastructure, ecosystem, of course, we don't think that ecosystem is important. Ecosystem, because of their services, is important to support life. But if they are, being affected by climate change, it will indirectly affect human lives and human security as well. So those are scenarios, and the world has responsibility to prevent this. So to understand how to prevent this, we need to understand, where this greenhouse coming from, and 75 of this basically coming from fossil fuel. 64%, and then 11% from so-called land use changes. And if we were to make changes of this, we need to change this. We need to change this. And specifically, IPCC said the window is limited. The window is narrowing, because if we want to keep it 1.5, which is already almost there, if we want to ensure that the temperature increase remains below 1.5, we need to do this. So this is the trajectory. Now it's about almost 60 so-called gigaton CO2 equivalent per year, the emission. That has to be reduced by 2030, which is only a few years from now, by 50% to a level of maybe around 25 or 30 gigaton CO2 equivalent. Not only that, the CO2 by 2050 has to be net zero. What's going out equal to what's being absorbed. So this is very difficult because the world is getting crazy right now. Not only getting ragey, of course, but reflected in the commitment of the world is just not enough to go there. And this is the slide from the IPCC again says that the NDC. Some of you may be familiar with NDC. This is pledges by countries around the world. Indonesia has pledges, and Malaysia has pledges, Brunei has pledges. But pledges is pledges. Action is different. Policy is different. But if you take this into account, it's just not sufficient. By it just something that commit the Earth into a warming trajectory of more than 3 degrees by the end of the century. And the world need to do more. Otherwise, we know that in terms of risk, IPCC came up with the risk. Every temperature increase, you may change the risk from low risk into high risk, and so on and so on. And this is just crazy stuff when it comes to warming. And this is again for all kind of ecosystem. Every increase of temperature will increase the risk of this being impacted. So whether we like it or not, human beings impacted, and the level of impact depends on where you are. How old are you? I'm somewhere around there. But if someone born now, for example, they will be affected in the way they are being affected. It depends on how high, how low, and whether the world is going to, sustainability or not. So future generation will be affected. So IPCC came up with this, and it says that we lost opportunity when it comes to addressing this many years ago, and right now we are at the the crossroad where even myself questioning, whether the world would be able or not to address this. If we go down like this, perhaps the world is going to be very impacted by much. But still, people think that there is an opportunity to go sustainability and with adaptation and mitigation. Maybe we can still save a lot of things around the world, basically. So this is my last slide. Hopefully, I didn't overshoot the time. Thank you, Doctor.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Fridolin. Yeah, what fascinating scientific data about the climate change, the trend of temperature increase, and also the climate change itself. So for me, it's a bit scary, not a bit, totally scary. Yeah, I think we will have discussion session. Please, Bapak Ibu, the audience, if you have questions that want to address to Professor Fridolin, please raise your hand. And you also can write down your questions through the chat meeting box within this application, please.
Yes, before there come question. Yeah, it is scary, and this is why important. When highlighting the global climate change, global warming, it has to be global aspect. And IPCC is not just looking at the particular, very narrow variables and so on, but they are looking the very holistic, and not just the current period, but how climate evolved in millions of years. And what is the possibility of climate going for hundreds of years in the future? And when you come to using data, it's not just data like from land, from the ocean, from the surface, from below, and also from the from satellite looking at this. So it's very convincing. And the way it is being produced, this kind of there's no way people can can cheat. No country can influence this kind of thing. It's purely scientific and robust, basically.
Yeah.
So this is but unfortunately we are at a very much situation where we're not quite sure, but true enough that there are people simply ignoring science.
Yeah.
Things like
Unfortunately,
big country is ignoring science, and
it is indeed. Things like
so that
climate
again
deniers.
complicate matters.
Yeah.
But for the audience here, this is like a wake up call for us. We are a researcher. Maybe we need to think a solution. Maybe we need to think something. Because we are not policy makers. I'm not really sure. Maybe most of these people we're not policy maker. We are not in the position who can, formulate policy to change things and so on. But we can provide science. So if I'm a policy maker, for informed decision making, I need science in front of me.
Yeah.
Policy maker, they don't do science, they don't do research and so on, right? But at the same time, if they don't have science in front of them, how do we expect them to make a right decision, right? So at the local level, at the national level, there are a lot of decisions need to be made, and to some extent, the global science can be used, but when it comes to solution, it is actually the science at the local scale, at the national scale, that is relevant, basically. So it's relevant for all of us.
Yeah. Indeed. Thank you, Professor Shah. I do agree, totally agree with what you delivered or what you mentioned, Professor. Yeah, things like the world's getting crazy right now. Most of the global leaders not really, what is it? In terms of paper, maybe they are taking serious this issue.
Maybe I can, while waiting for question, Dr. Priwan, I mentioned about drying, over Sumatra, middle of Sumatra since June, July, and we had haze in Kuala Lumpur. Of course, I'm not in Kuala Lumpur, but I monitor as well. And also, but in terms of hotspot, it's suddenly becoming widespread, and not just in Sumatra, but over Peninsula Malaysia and also Sarawak and Kalimantan. And this is a kind of typical thing we see during El Nino. Or maybe if we have Indian Ocean dipole. But we don't have this kind of phenomenon now. We don't. So something creating it, even BMKG people scratching their head. They cannot explain. But I have a kind of hypothesis. Because we are already encroaching into 1.5 degree. So are we really seeing something that we saw in the map? Where in the map says in the future when you get 2 degrees, we did not show, but I believe if you plot for 1.5, you get similar kind of thing. Are we really encroaching into that kind of situation? Which of course, if it continues getting warmer and warmer, becoming more serious. Which means that every June, July, August in the future, you get this kind of a lot more drier.
Indeed.
A lot more drier than usual.
Yes, Professor. As I mentioned, I think we have one question from the chat box from Hendra Pratama.
Okay.
How can forecasting of weather with more precision and localized help resilience of shipping logistics in Indonesia to facing the climate change?
Okay. So this is from someone interested in the shipping.
Yes. Shipping.
So before I answer this, I was hoping if some from BMKG, but they're busy with workshop down there. But here you're talking about shipping, the ocean. The condition in the ocean is changing. Maybe not affecting the shipping so much, but Indonesia, for example, a maritime nation. Not only you have long coastline, you have like thousands of islands. you know, so and ecosystem and so on. A lot of your resources from the ocean. Your protein, you put resources from the ocean. So when the ocean is warming, you have problem. When the ocean rising, you have problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing else, no other word but problem in the future, right? So
How tackle it?
huh?
Yeah, how to tackle it?
Yeah, but again, when come to focus, this is a kind of adaptation, right? When things changing, if you can focus, projection is a long time. This is projection is it's a what if, scenario. Focus is different. You want to focus to tomorrow, day after tomorrow, 1 week from now. So you want to have a precise information, and of course, people have been doing this. And BMKG, this is their responsibility to issue forecasts and so on. And the technology making it, of course, better, with the new technology and so on. But still, you cannot forecast exactly, what happened in 1 week and so on. And the longer the time scale in the future, the more uncertainty that you have. And if you can focus, for example, 2 months per month exactly when it's rainfall and so on, you're not human. You're God. But technology is advancing, especially with AI now. Research is still, of course, when it comes to AI, but hopefully, whatever we see, the potential use of AI in other sector can be applied in weather forecasting and climate forecasting as well. And that is ongoing research, very active research. And I believe this might be the case, but this kind of technique actually based on data. Based on data, it's not a god as well. Based on data. Whatever you if you want ask ChatGPT, those based on data, right? Because it learn what people input in some data. Without data, it cannot. It's just a useless thing. The same thing with if you apply AI in forecasting, without data, you cannot do much. And this is why I think the concept of sharing data is useful and so on. But again, this is an issue when it comes to countries. Some countries, they have special, they have some regulation that data cannot be shared, and that can problem as well. But we'll see how AI can improve, forecasting in the future. And I see forecasting as an adaptation tool because, while long term is useful, but short term, of course, immediate action that can be taken to minimize impact.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Prof, one again, if the local knowledge about the changing of the weather, I think the sailor can be see, oh, there is a storm or something like that. It can be become a data and become a library to learning, machine learning like that, sir.
Yeah. I think people use this kind of data. People use this kind of data, to train the AI, and it's already happening, especially in developed countries, I think. So this is for people who are interested in this thing. We should do this research rather than just following the Western country, developed country. It's a good research actually. This is a good research.
Yes.
I mean, our tendency is just to follow whatever developed country, But this is a chance where everybody is still doing research. If we can come up with something new, something useful, then
Thank you, sir.
Having said that, I don't know much about AI also, so
thank you.
Okay, all right. We still have a couple of minutes time. If there are any other question from the audience, please raise your hand, or you can also write them in the chat box if you have. Well, might be while we're waiting for the questions, Professor Fredolin, I think I have one question.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, despite the scientific side already, what is it show the data, what's going on, giving prediction, yeah, even more precision because a lot of data there. But in terms of what is it, real, I mean, in terms of let's say government all over the world, things like there is a pessimistic what they are doing right now to address this issue or to overcome this issue. So what do you think? What in what aspect or in what side that we have still optimistic to address or to overcome our big issue nowadays, like climate change and so on?
Well, I mean, we have to be based on science. According to science, according to IPCC report,
Yeah,
although it's narrow, but still a possibility to do this. But to do science is easy, but to implement the real world is not that easy because it requires total overhaul of the of how things is being done when it comes to development and so on, and precisely about the how do you actually ensure your greenhouse gases,
yeah,
fossil fuels, which is 64% of those global emissions coming from fossil fuels. You
yeah,
know, so how do you guys? Of course, some countries already uh, net zero. I
yeah,
think, for example, in Europe, like Norway and so on, maybe where they depend quite a lot on
fossil fuel.
geothermals and so on. But they're not in a small country. They're a small country, right? Easy. But if you have like almost 300 million from left to right, like Indonesia, this is maybe the solution is there, but it's not like 1 or 2 years. It take longer time. Of course, Indonesia has a potential of maybe geothermal, of course, renewable energy. This is also the emphasis. Uh, you know, things things are not the potential is there. Science says that possible to do,
Yeah,
but when trying to implement it in the real world, it takes time. And this thing cannot be imposed by any country, right?
yeah,
The most they have the UNCCC meeting every year. Thousands of people come to this COP meeting,
yeah.
even generating more greenhouse gases. you know,
Okay.
uh, so but I think we should be optimistic that
Yeah,
it can be solved, but not necessarily following what IPCC think. It might be overshoot and so on.
yeah,
So many people believe that 1.5 is already gone.
yeah,
Uh, but we still have 2 degree. If we can limit that 2 degree, it's even better than limiting 3 degree or 4 degree. So
okay.
we hope that countries in the world need to continue to do this. But as I said, we as a scientist, we are not policymakers. We
Yeah,
can do research, but whatever we do, find our finding may not necessarily useful for them.
yeah,
They even probably don't look at this thing, right?
yeah,
So, but if we don't do research, there's no even opportunity
yeah,
for them to look at what is the
yeah,
solution, what is the situation, and so on. So we must do research.
yeah, yeah. So we should what is it? We keep producing research
Yeah,
yeah,
producing research
yeah,
that can influence the policy.
yeah,
And people like me, also because of my background, I've been to IPCC and my research. People in the newspaper they like when I write. So I have a column now.
okay,
Every week I have a column. So I write in Bahasa, which people on the ground can understand what is climate change and what they
yeah,
can do.
uh,
And I want to change their mindset
okay,
where they might not be able to do a lot of things, but they may, every 5 years or so, they have a chance to which government should I choose,
yeah,
right? So if I'm a rakyat, if I'm I should choose government who care about
the environment,
sustainability,
yeah,
care about climate change, of course, care about other things, corruption and so on as well, but
Yeah.
This is the era that we should pay attention to
Yeah.
environmental
Alright.
issue like this. You know why? What? Because if we look at the human being development in time just now, our great chances will be affected. If we care
Okay.
about our generation, we should do
Yeah.
it now.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor.
Yeah.
Yeah. We our times almost times over, so we are going to wrap up these sessions. So we have three keynote speakers today. Professor Dr. Ferdinand. Previously, we have Dr. Chayawan and also Dr. Tim from UK. So the three topics has been have delivered, and I think we got a lot of insight from three perspective and topics, and hopefully it will be useful for us, and of course it will be what is it? We will get more idea to develop research to face our world challenge today, like climate change, environmental issue, environmental damage, and so on and so forth. All right. I think for I think Dr. Chan's not here already. Then also Dr. Tim's not here. I think we need a closing remark from Professor Fredolin. Please,
Okay.
Professor.
Okay. Thank you to everyone. As I said, we are researcher. We know the problem. Many people think that climate change is a global issue, but when come to impact, it is very relevant to us at the local scale, at the national scale, and many people think, still we are still surviving. We still we still here. But what concerns us the most, the science tell us that things keep changing very rapidly.
Yeah.
And we're not so sure if there is a guarantee that the world fix this problem. Why should we care so much about? I would like to do some other things, not about this climate change. But there's no guarantee. All right, there's no guarantee. Come to the moment, come to the point where, for example, now government or pemerintah realize that
Yeah.
definitely this we need to do something. We need to suddenly at that time not enough science at the local scale, not enough research and so on. So what need to be done and so on at local scale, and then a bit too late for us. So why don't we just do research with the assumption that this thing will get worse?
Okay.
If we get some passion and get funding and so on, carry out research. As a researcher, this is also opportunity for us to publish and so on.
Yeah.
If you are a lecturer now, after a couple of years, maybe you become a professor, because of climate change.
Okay.
So opportunity for do research as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
thank you so much for
Yeah.
inviting me. Hopefully, information that I shared here is useful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Again, many thanks, Professor. Hopefully, yeah, we meet again somewhere, someplace. Okay. Well, last but not least, actually, we still have one more speaker from the government.
So I will leave, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
that's
I
okay.
have to
That
continue
will be
with the
fine.
workshop. Yeah. So
Uh,
thanks everyone.
yeah, thank you, Professor. I'll invite Dr. Muhammad Fauzan Adziman, ST Master of Engineering PhD. Hopefully, Pak Fauzan's already in the Zoom meetings. Pak Fauzan, are you here already? Hello?
I think he is already in the Zoom, I
Fauzan
think.
sedang gabung.
Sorry. Okay. If Pak Fauzan's already here, time is your now, Pak Fauzan, please. We still have you have about 20 minutes to deliver your presentation. Hello?
Uh, Apologies, everyone. Pak Fauzan is joining. Please wait for a moment.
Okay, all right. So we are waiting for the Pak Fauzan to prepare all the things, maybe about the technical things. Right. My question is about to the organizer. Do we
Yeah,
need to...
but what he is joining.
Okay, it's joining. Okay, thank you, Bu Eli.
While waiting, I think we can listen the video from about the profile of Andalas University, right?
Okay. Please, the organizer.
Maybe Pak Tio.
Sorry, Dr. Apriwan, this Pak Fauzan is already in this room,
Okay.
so you can call him again.
All right. Okay, thank you, Bu Eli. I'll
Yep.
call Pak Fauzan again. Pak Fauzan, are you here already?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Can you hear my voice?
Yeah, we got it. Okay, Pak Fauzan, please, you have 20 minutes to deliver your presentations. Time is yours now. Thank you.
Let me just share my screen. Apologies for the time. Yeah. Are you looking at the correct screen, Privan?
Yeah, we got it, Pak.
Yeah. Okay. So distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, apologies for joining late today. So, I had a few commitments in the ministry, and then I apologize as well not joining in person. First of all, thank you as well for inviting us to the International Conference on Science, Technology and Innovation 2025 at University of Andalas. And my appreciation to Professor Fredolin Universal, also to Associate Professor Dr. Chayawan Watanachan from the Prince of Songkla University in Thailand, Associate Professor Dr. Tim Fers from Cranfield University, and Professor Dr. Alfindri from Universitas Andalas, Dr. Mirta Widya from University Malaysia Pahang, and also for Professor Dedi Primaputra for University of Andalas. My name is Fauzan Adziman. I am Director General of Research Development at the Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Technology. So allow me to explain a few key policies we are building within the ministry, especially in terms of science and technology and how innovations are being developed within the country, especially in the higher education sector. So let me start with explaining what we see today, where the growth of technology exponentially progressing. And then this is something that we are fully aware, especially of some key exponential technologies. That could be biotech, nanotech, new energy and sustainability, 3D printing, AI, robotics, drones, etc. And I'm very glad that today's international conference organized by University of Andalas trying to tackle some of these key technologies Now we see this both as a threat, of course, because we need to understand on how to cope with the growth of the technology itself. But we also see this as potentially as an opportunity. So where the opportunity may lie, so every country around the globe is trying to up with the changes in terms of technology development. But we also know that technology development based off a few key things. And then the very baseline is IP. And then IP is from ideas. So we are endorsing more and more the process of idea creation, and then how those ideas then become part of the research and development ecosystem in Indonesia. And then we would like those ideas become either one is an output of research in terms of journals, so papers published internationally, and then second is in terms of products that we develop. So product development becomes a key part that we would like to be part, where universities can take a very important key role within the country. And second thing that we notice is not only the exponential development of the technology, but also the innovation cycle itself getting shorter and shorter. So the first wave of technology, we know that starts from water power, and that was around 1785, and it took around 60 years. So the cycle of innovation is interesting because it took usually 60 to 50 and 50 years. But then these days, one cycle of innovations would last only within 30 to 25 years. So we expect even shorter and shorter. So what does a cycle of innovation mean? So it means that the innovation starts to grow very fast, and then the take-up of those technologies, the things that being developed within that cycle, becomes more and more being taken by communities or by industries. And we also see that is happening at the moment. For example, in the last wave, as we call it the fifth wave, where digital networks or internet essentially starts to take off. And in the sixth wave, where AI starts to kick in, if you remember in 2018, when Google released the TensorFlow codes. So my field aligned pretty much around the area of what Google released at that time. I did try TensorFlow right away, whilst my background was more on the applied mathematics and theoretical physics, where we usually do experiments and then build modeling based on computational physics. Then as soon as TensorFlow starts in 2018, we saw that the capability of TensorFlow could replicate physics simulations just within few weeks of our development at the time. And as a way of introduction, my background, I used to be academics before joining ministry and also developing technology in a commercial setting. So we always see that the first development of deep tech within the AI technology as a very key starting point of the sixth wave. And then the sixth wave is currently progressing, and then we expect this to be shorter and shorter. So understanding this, on the right-hand side, we would like to explain that the wave of technology does as well change, not only in the AI, in the software technology, but also in the technology or in industry that we see today. So one of which is battery adoption, for example. So in 2020, when we start banning export of nickel, we expect that the use of nickel will be high, But also we anticipate LFP, which is another type of battery that doesn't use nickel, starts to take off. And then domestically at the moment, as you see in the right-hand side, so let me show you by using this laser pointer, the use of LFP or the adoption of LFP within our domestic market is actually increasing very fast, while our domestic market start using nickel. So this means that in terms of policy development, we need to really understand what happens between demand and then technology capability, and also the way how future is very difficult to predict. So this is the complexities that we are facing today. So based off that, in the ministry, we are developing a few key R&D strategies. But if I explain what is our key strategy, let me start by looking at the opportunity that we have today. So by 2045, 65% of our populations will be in the productive age group. So this is a real key opportunity. And then we also see that our HDI, which is the Human Development Index, indeed increase year by year. However, we do have challenge. So the one of the biggest challenges that we have in Indonesia at the moment is our total factor productivity. So the productivity itself is not growing as we would like it to be. And then what we can do then, we are building a key strategy where the solution is based on building an ecosystem. So ecosystem of science and technology is something which we feel will help not only to improve our key technology, for understanding adoptions and then how technology will be useful for our economy, but also it will instill longevity within our society in terms of tackling problems within the country. So there are 4 strategies that we built. So the first strategy is building human resource upskilling. So human resource or talent is key factor that we are building. And then the second strategy is research and development. So key to this is to build a world-class R&D. And then today we do have this international conference. It's something that we are fully supporting. And we hope that through this conference, there will be exchanges through key experts, which then lead up to good scientific publication that we fully support to be in the future more and more of our publications with a world class. And then the third strategy is we're building what we call downstreaming. So downstreaming essentially is commercializations of our R&D, and then that cannot be done without partnership. So with the downstream partnership, we hope that the scaling up process can start to take off. That output from university indeed will end up helping our growth and equity of our economy in Indonesia. All of this will need to be supported by development of adaptive policies, the policies which can sustain in the, as I mentioned earlier, where the technology development is changing rapidly, and then as well as the market itself. So adaptive policy is something that we are building within the government. And then foundation to that is our ability to adapt and develop technology, both from infrastructure side and also from the software side. And then central to that is our economy. And then we would like to use science and technology in helping our economy through a few key areas. And those are food security, creative economy, energy transition, transportation, material and manufacturing, which I understand as well within today's conference, you have 3 parallel sessions: environmental science and climate adaptation. So that will be part of what we are focusing. And then second is on the technology innovation for sustainability. So sustainability is indeed where science and technology is needed. And then the third is agriculture, health, and socioeconomics resilience. So all of these are what we are trying to achieve through science and technology. And then if I can extend a little bit further, this is as well the way we would like to use digitalization. So digitalization is key part of this development that we are building. So within digitalizations, the AI part and also the semiconductor part. So we would like AI and semiconductor development within the country to assist all this environmental science, climate adaptations, technology innovation, agricultural health, socio-economic resilience. Now, let me bring you a little bit how we would like to integrate what we discussed earlier, aligned to the missions of the president and the vice presidents. So there are 8 missions of the president and vice president, summarized within what we call it Astacita. And then the Astacita, 8 Astacita, we do have 3 Astacita aligned very well with the Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Technology. And then, as you can see here, to enhance a few key different fields, and that includes self-sufficiency in food, energy, water, creative economy, green economy, blue economy. We see as well technology and development of human capital as the key for Astacita number 4. And number 5, we see industrializations and downstreaming, which is commercializations of what we used to be or what we are trying to see, which is extractive-based economy of Indonesia, to become an economy based of production of products originate from natural resources within the country. So the economic value of the process will be something that we are after. And we do have 17 priority programs. And then within the 17 programs, let me put emphasis on number 11, which is the environmental preservations. So here where we see not only to achieve self-sufficiency in food, energy, water, digitalizations, and then downstream reindustrializations, but we also put emphasis on the importance of environment preservation. So the importance of balancing is key here. So I hope that in today's parallel session, we put emphasis on the importance of environmental science and climate adaptations as part of what the key program that we are building within Indonesia. We also try to bring a new paradigm of how higher education policy should be. So in the past, higher educations usually end up with a key output in terms of talent, R&D, in higher education institutions, organization of it, so on and so forth. So all focus on the higher education itself. What we would like to transform is that so the higher education policy will contribute to the economic development. So this is something which hopefully the technology innovation for sustainability of the parallel sessions that you're having today may assist us to understand on how to shift higher education output to economic development. And that could, one of which is the supporting energy self-sufficiency, for example. Hopefully that can be developed within this conference. A few key strategy which we introduce more and more is that in terms of research, we are not only based on research focus or topics focus anymore. So we bring what we call it a challenge-based approach. So research need to focus on problems or challenges, not only based off the topics, and then without any factorizations of what we would like to achieve. So we need to have a strong problem statement And we hope that problem statements just actually help our community, and that also including compatibility to global challenges. We also align our research topics to investment. So investment needs understanding where the investment will be developed in the country. We understand that the inertia of the technology will develop there will be massive or huge. And then we hope that by doing this, we can assist the process of scaling up of output of research that can be used by industry. So these are all the 5 fields focused by Danantara. So we've been talking to Danantara a lot, and to align our activities on R&D with what's needed by Danantara system. And hopefully by doing this, we can provide a secured way for economic growth through a deep tech economic transformations. Here are some key programs that we are building, but what's important here is that we build 2 key pillars of publications and then pillar of product development, which may assist our industry shifting where we are today toward high value industry. So we are not only focusing on the publication. Publication itself is difficult and tricky, but we would like also to downstream further what we publish so that some of what we publish can turn into products. And then we build that through partnership. And then on top of the building within the ministry, especially on the R&D context, is contributions to our society. So we are working on orchestrating this carefully. Now, just want to show you on the roadmap of our commercialization process and how we also align our funding scheme so that the funding scheme can align with the technology and commercialization readiness of your research. So we do provide R&D support from the really beginning part of the journey. So when the development of research and technology itself need to take place within university. So we provide government program funding and also bring industry as early as possible. But then when some of the research output become product and then the market fit study, prototyping, testing, so sandboxing. So these are programs that we develop to help bridging technology developed in the university, and so those technologies can be then adopted through a process that an industry could take up easier, so that we can then scale through a few key processes, which then end up with partnership and building a more sustainable industry based on science and technology within Indonesia. And this summarized the programs that we built, and then the foundations, the background of the program itself, and then how we would like to achieve those. So hopefully that summarized the key policies of our ministry, and that hopefully as well did give us a good key discussion points. And I hope that from today's international conference, if there are things which I mentioned before, problems that you would like to solve or to achieve as part of the output of the international conference, we are happy to listen your output and see whether we could build a key strategic programs supported by the government, or we can also bring in a few key industrial contributions and also invest in the ecosystem built in the universities. So that's all from my keynote this afternoon. Thank you very much, everyone, and please let me know if you have any questions.
Well, thank you, Pak Fauzan. What insight presentations. How the government policy and programs want to develop and improve our research, innovation, and technology. I think a lot of program that government want to pursue, and hopefully we are going at the stage that we will be one of country that will be counted as developed countries. Yeah, I think we will have discussion sessions. I will give the time to the audience. If you have questions, comments, or even clarifications, you can raise your hands, or you can also write down your questions within the chat box if you have. Anyone? Okay. While we are waiting for the questions, Pak Fauzan, I think I have one question. Based on your presentations, I think we are really, this policy and programs, I think, are really good, yeah. To boosting or to pursue our research, our science and technology, and so on and so forth. But lately, all of us might be, as Indonesian people, we know that the government try to, do things like efficiency in terms of budgeting or financial context. So what do you think? Is it really in line with those policy and programs, or what the government actually want to reach in terms of efficiency in terms of budgeting? Please, Pak Fauzan.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak. I think it's a very fair point. So we understand in Indonesia, most of our R&D comes from. So based on data that we understand, which is published by ADB, contributions of private sectors to R&D is not more than 7 to 9%, less than 10%. So more than 95% funded by the government. Now, there is also another key information here that our R&D budget compared to our GDP, we only, publicly recorded around 0.28% of GDP going to R&D, whilst the standard of OECD is trying to achieve at least 1%. So still behind what the standard OECD would like to see. As a comparison, for example, a country like South Korea, they are already around 4%, and then Turkey, maybe not very far, but they're already 1.3%. So we are still lower than where we need to be. Now, with these two information, so we are still low where we need to be. And then on the other hand, so that most of R&D is coming from government. So this means that we need to increase contributions of industry side or the non-governmental funding to the table, essentially. So we are doing this pretty much actively within the last 7-8 months. So we built a more strategic relationship with industry. We met, so recently we actively or proactively coming to industries. Recently as well, we signed an MOU with in Bahasa Indonesia called Himpunan Kawasan Industri, so industrial region within Indonesia. So we have around 170 dedicated industrial region, and then each industrial region, for example, the one in Jakarta, close to Jakarta, called Jababeka, they do have around 300 industries within. So why they need us? So they came to us saying that, look, we do have key problems within industries that universities may be able to help, but usually they don't know how and who to contact, for example, and then how to build that relationship. So we're bridging more and more this area so that we initially will fund research with industry. We have more and more of research or the applied research part will be funded by industry in years to come. So this may have a more sustainability factor rather than we rely on government-based funding. So the government-based funding itself is still lower than as I explained earlier. And there is as well potentially what we could improve from other contributions, in this case, from the private sector. So I just want to give a little bit comparison with other countries. So Indonesia, as I mentioned before, contributions of private sector is around 7 to 9%. But if we compare to Malaysia, Malaysia is around 19 to 40%. So there are two data. If we compare with Thailand, Thailand is doing very well in this. They are around 70%. Japan is around 80% private industries doing R&D. And Singapore is around 60%. And the highest in the world is Israel, 95%. So it's completely opposite from us. R&D funded by private sector. So with that, I think the long-term trajectory, we do need to build a more and more reliable way so our industry can be part of R&D. And we would like to be productive in our research so that the countries see that research as a way to improve our total productivity factor. And then by doing that, I think our budget of R&D will also be increased. But also I can say that during the actually R&D is something that the president secured very early, not to be affected by the efficiency, because science and technology is key. And then we did get a very early privilege that for R&D we need to invest more. And then the President Prabowo puts a very importance of science and technology. So I think in the future, in the near future, I think we can say that science and technology or R&D will still be priority for the country, So we don't need to worry to be part of the efficiency program for.
All right, thank you for the answer, Fauzan. I will call the audience again. Any questions, comments that want to address to Pak Fauzan?
I think I have a question.
Yeah, Pak Dedi, please.
Thank you, Pak Fauzan. Maaf, Pak Ketua. Sangat very interesting about your explanation. One question, Pak Fauzan. There is any regulation for protection data research in our country, and how maybe you have any suggestion to make any contract so that our data research will be protected. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Dedi. Probably you can answer directly, Pak Fauzan. Please, time is yours.
Thank you, Prof. Dedi. This is very timely and very important question. So, in fact, I met one Tiknas, Dewan TIK Nasional, Council of Technology, Information Communication Technology in English, last week or 2 weeks ago. And then we discussed about this, the importance of data protection. So we are looking into it at the moment. So far, BRIN, which is longer than us because the Director General of Research and Development is pretty new, 7-8 months. So has issued a data protection, and then they have within the workflow already, and we are working towards that. So I think data protection is very important. And then if I can extend a little bit why we are talking about data protections, because we are talking about sovereignty of data, sovereignty of digitalizations within Indonesia. We sovereignty of digital technology in Indonesia needs to start from sovereignty of data. And that is our conclusions after discussions with Antinkmas and also discussion with the Ministry of Communications and Digitalizations. So if you have any suggestion on how we build the regulations, I think feel free. We are looking into what BRIN already built at the moment, and we as well infrastructures towards it. But I feel that, yeah, it is a very important topic that we need to build and make it sustainable.
Thank you very much, Pak Fauzan.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Denny. Yeah. Yeah. I think we still have any
will be used to track whether genuinely translate into economic transformations. Because we know that economic has many parameters, not only from a research side, but from other side also. So this is my first question. And second question is, how will the ministry ensure that research in these areas also address societal needs, for example, inclusivity, accessibility, rural development, for example, not just high-tech innovation for elite industries? So this is two questions from me.
Okay, thank you, Professor Marzuki. Please, Pak Fauzan, time is yours.
Thank you, Professor Marzuki. In terms of sustainability and impact, so something which we discuss internally, but especially when I just joined the office, I mentioned a number of times about the importance of R&D impact. And then the impact in, initially I put impact as impact, but then realized that impact in Bahasa Indonesia means berdampak. And then because I did mention a few times to our because I was asked where is our R&D is heading, Fauzan, and then I said that we need to build an impactful ecosystem for R&D. I learned from my previous role as academic at Oxford University. At Oxford, usually impact is embedded since the beginning of research. A problem statement that impactful usually the one gets it. So then Prof. Brian Yuliarta, our minister, mentions, let's take this as a key jargon of the ministry. So we call it Dikti Saintek Berdampak. So the baseline of what you mentioned is actually what really we want to achieve. So how our research can be sustainable and impactful, so that we put in our jargon that higher education, science, technology indeed need to be impactful. Now, the real thing is how we measure impact. So this is a million-dollar questions that we are trying to answer and build. We have taken a few key measures. One is in our new scheme of R&D, we are funding a feasibility study. So FS is part of what we fund before research. So recently we launched a program called Downstream Research Priority Program, or Hilirisasi Riset Prioritas. And one of the key schemes, we call it the technology push. So technology push is coming from university. And then once we receive technology introduction from university, start of funding is from feasibility study. So feasibility study will be funded for 3-4 months, which will start this month. We are now working on selection process. We receive in total for these programs around 1,200 proposals so far. And then for specifically for the technology push, we will have a feasibility study phase for 3-4 months that we will fund for each of the project for 250 million rupiah. So 250 million rupiah to spend for 3-4 months, but working, so the researchers need to work with business schools. Business schools could be, if in the University of Andalas you have business school, you can work with someone with the expertise of feasibility study within the university or neighboring university, doesn't matter, or of course other universities as well as preferred. But the feasibility study needs to try to gauge what the research output will be, and then how this could be useful, and in the end, as mentioned, and how this could be impact the two parts, not only on the economic growth. Economic growth is important, but also on our social ecology impact. So we always try to see these two roots, the roots of the economic side and the roots to the socio-ecology side. Now, then on to your second question, and in terms of research for social needs, not only for the high-tech ones. So this is a really very good point, where let me just show you one graph that I we wrote, and then we introduced as well within our program. The only thing is it is still in Bahasa Indonesia, so apologies that it will be in Bahasa Indonesia, but this will answer the question, Professor Marzuki. So let me just explain this a little bit. So this is our key strategy or scheme program within our ministry in terms of R&D. And what we are trying to achieve is, as mentioned by you as well, that it has to be impactful or berdampak. And then to build that berdampak, what we built is a pyramid, where the pyramid is on the fundamental foundation is development of science and technology ecosystem within university. Some call it kawasan science and technology, or in English, science and technopark, something which we try to establish. That doesn't necessarily to be building though. It could also be ecosystem or a system that we have within university where industry can also come and discuss how they can be or they can work with university. On top of that, research and then downstreaming or commercializations. But this is what I want to show, that the top of the pyramid of our research is always going to community. So masyarakat is the top of the pyramid, so that we can achieve the impactful side. It also means that when we talk about energy, for example, and bring high technology to energy, say solar cell, for example, but the solar cell needs to provide solutions to, say, our fishing communities around the coastal areas, because with solar cell, some of the boats can have battery rather than engine. With battery, the battery can be then charged on the coastline using solar cell. So this is an actual program, which also means that all the technological development, and also we are talking about, for example, that can be useful to reduce our LPG reliance, and then also to improve use of electrical stove for our community. So community is always top of the pyramid and then central of our development. For that reason as well, we do have programs which essentially we call it, in Bahasa Indonesia, we call it skema riset inklusivitas, which means that inclusivity is part of the R&D itself. So that includes, for example, research for key areas which requires attentions in Indonesia, and R&D for private universities around Indonesia, which essentially private universities around the areas of, we call it in Bahasa Indonesia, 3T or 3T, so areas which is border, which is areas well that economic development is needed, and so on and so forth. We also now building research development specifically for disability needs. So it's something that we are building within R&D ecosystem. So I can assure you that what you mentioned in terms of research for social needs and inclusivity, in fact, is the top of our pyramid. Hopefully
Thank you
that
very much.
explains Pak Marzuki.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Again, on behalf of Andalas, we thanks so much for the inspiring keynote speech from Pak Dirjen. Thank you again.
All right. Thank you, Pak Fauzan, and also Prof. Marzuki. I think due to the limit of time, yeah, we are almost in the end of this session. Might be there is one more thing that probably Pak Fauzan already mentioned about the distribution, because Indonesia is not between eastern part, western part. We are not equal each other among other universities. So what the higher education Director General of Higher Education want to overcome those gap between universities. Yeah, and also please give your also closing remarks, because we are also in the end of the session. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So what we try to build, essentially through a funding, we do have provided two big sources of our R&D funding sources. First one is coming from directly from APBN. So APBN is, just to explain for the non-Indonesian audience, so APBN is coming from the budget from the central government. So usually this requires the government, for example. So we do have budget from that. Also budget from specifically from endowment fund, which is called LPD, so from LPDB. And let me just as well be open of how much of our budget usually in our R&D. So our R&D budget for universities across Indonesia from APBN is around 2.5 triliun rupiah. So 2,5 triliun rupiah. And then our budget from LPDP for R&D for this year is around 1 trillion rupiah. So we do have around 3.5 trillion. And what we build, all the programs that we're building, so the 2.5, we focus on what we call it improving our average. So this is what we call it a research priority funding. So research priority funding is spread all across Indonesia as fair as possible. So for example, it's our program called BIMA, so BIMA research funding. We receive 50,000 proposals from around Indonesia, and then we fund 16,000 of the proposals. Out of the 16,000 all over Indonesia, we then as well map for the whole provinces. So we see that a good distributions or average is happening at the moment. However, we also let me think because this is useful. Let me just show you as well the figure. So because this is important, as April mentioned, so we need to cover the whole Indonesia. So this is distributions of R&D funding for Indonesia. And as you see that most of the provinces around 30%, and some still quite low is in central Papua, for example, 20%. But we do some intervention, but most of the provinces, including in Sumatra, for example, let's see, Andalas is 35%. So this is about the same as in West Java, in East Java, for example, 30%. Even Jakarta is a bit lower, which is 27%. So this is a first strategy of using our national budget or APBN. However, we also do LPDP. So LPDP is from our endowment fund managed by students. That one, we build programs, what we call it a strategic funding scheme. So strategic, it means that it doesn't necessarily to build the whole average of Indonesia, but we be strategic on the key priority that we want to spend. So for example, food security, for example. So this day food security is something which the president himself is trying to build carefully. So in that case, compliance of import commodities, for example, garlic. For example, garlic is something that we import more than 95%. LPG, for example. So we're trying to find alternative solutions through key priority programs, and that we fund through LPDP, focusing on, say, that someone really good at, say, Marzuki, for example, really good at his research, and then we will through a direct funding to Professor Marzuki, if that aligns well with what the central government would like to build, or what the community or masyarakat would like to solve. So that too is the way we try to achieve, because we are in the right slide. So let me just also show this, that all what I show earlier is also aligning to the of it's not only the spread of the logically but also the spread of the fields within the country. And number one, at the moment, most of the funding goes to health. So around 3,300-ish or 400-ish funded out of the 16,000 we fund this year of research around Indonesia. Second is digitalization, and then the economy, AI, creative economy, environment is not very fast. We are funding 1,000 research as of today for R&D in this field. We also need to explain that the way we distribute our funding, we create 5 different clusters according to the capability of universities. So which means that heavyweight universities will fight against or compete against heavyweight communities, universities, and then universities which requires more assistance will then compete within the same category. So we have 5 categories from we call it in Bahasa Indonesia Binance, requires support, to the cluster Mandiri, which is universities which basically independent. So hopefully that explained well on how we would like to achieve the equity as mentioned by everyone. Now, the last point about closing the opening of today, I would like to stress out the importance of contributions to our community, or what we call it masyarakat. So we would like R&D to assist based of our R&D be supporting or solving our community problems. Therefore, conversations, discussions with local government will be very important. So we are building that programs, and we also would like to put emphasis on the importance of talents. So usually the focus always on how to build universities bigger and better. And that is still important. But within our key programs at the moment, we do world-class university or other programs helping to grow university. But we sometimes forget the importance of us, the importance of you, the importance of people or talent itself. So in 2 weeks' time, we are going to launch a key program supporting in Bahasa Indonesia, we call skema peneliti unggul. So peneliti unggul means top tier scientists that we would like to grow within the country. And then the funding will be based on block grant funding, which is quite generous, with the idea of competitions between scientists or researchers or professors. We would like to see not only because of the university, because we sometimes see that strong professors coming from not necessarily the strongest university. So we would like to put emphasis on the importance of talent development within the country. And this is as well, we strive to do more and to do better. And hopefully you can be part of that programs, and please as well do so with the community around universities, that we would like to see PhDs doing PhDs research within universities, stay in Andalas, for example, and then maybe as well we support. This is one of the key things that we would like to explain, that we are going to merge more and more our research and scholarships. So LPDP research and LPDP scholarship will be merged more and more. And LPDP scholarship will not only go to overseas without understanding how factorize this, so that R&D in Indonesia will align with students that we send abroad, so that people who are doing R&D based postgraduates, when they graduate, they can come back to Indonesia, and then we can absorb them as expert in Indonesia. So hopefully a few key innovative programs that we build could be supported by everyone in this conference. And then please feel free as well to send me a summary of the contacts, and we hope that we can integrate with the programs. So thank you very much again for having me. And then I again appreciate for everyone's joining, especially our friends from international institutions or universities. Really appreciate from our ministry, and then as well as to the coordinator or the organization or the organizing committee of the conference. Really appreciate the organization. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. All right, thank you very much again, Pak Fauzan. We do have a lot of insight, priceless information, of course. Hopefully, Indonesia much better in the future. All right, I think we are already in the end of this session. Me myself as the chair, thank you very much for having me, and apologize if there were lack of clarity, information, and so on and so forth. Again, good luck for the next session, and I'll give it back to the MC, Pak Tio. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much for our moderator, Dr. Apriwan SS, MA. And thank you so much to our 4 keynote speakers for our plenary sessions for today. And ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our plenary sessions for today. And next, after prior breaks, we have breakout room sessions. So because it's now time a break and lunch, we will post today's agenda and resumes at 1:30 at Western Indonesian time. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy your break, and see you at 1:30 in breakout room session.
Anjing api-api sama bagian si api-api beda, Pak.
Nah, kita lift dulu ya. Nanti gabung lagi. Ya, Nirat.
Nggak, stay on aja, Ima.
Oh, oke. Baiklah.
Because it's only for 30 minutes more.
Nanti atau mentionnya sebelum Pak mulai.
Iya, boleh. Lihat kita dulu sholat setengah jamnya.
Oh, itu bagus. Itu ada sesuatu setengah jam di baik.
Anda jawab Pak tuh, masa ya pagi senyum.
Apa tuh yang masak-masak Bu Erni?
Apa tuh Nirat?